10-4. What's up? All right, let's get that copy turned down. Thank you all for hopping in. Appreciate you very much as we get this StreamYard set up. I heard from Rosie earlier that StreamYard was bugging out. There was a notice this morning. I didn't see it when I hopped on tonight, so maybe we are all good. Hopefully y'all can hear me okay. Thank you for joining. I got a poll up already. I'm so tired of hearing about ransom notes. So tired of it. Been tired of it. It's been fake to me. I'll explain why again. But I want to know from you guys in the poll, let me know. Do you think any of these ransom notes are real? I'm going to tell you why I haven't been saying it. Going to say it again. And this, I mean, it's crazy. You go through all these videos and it's the same thumbnail. Like this droopy, sad existence face of Harvey. Every single one of them. We got another letter. We got another letter. We'll be breaking those down tomorrow night. Rosie isn't feeling too good, so send some prayers to her, please. Hopefully she feels better. She'll be joining tomorrow night, and we're going to be breaking down every TMZ ransom note. Tonight, we're still going to be talking about ransom notes. But first, we're going to cover a couple other things. Sheriff Nanos has 9 days to respond to some questions from the county administrator and their little group that they had set up. And so, I don't know. We'll see. Sheriff Nanos has 9 days now to respond. And I'm going to play a little clip of that hearing so you guys can take a listen. But it was kind of crazy. We did our last show. Yes, prayers for Rosie. We did our last show, Too Much Shit to title, because there was just too much to talk about. Hold on 1 second. Let me turn on these comments here. There was just too much to talk about. And it looks like we made somebody upset. We were talking about somebody that's out there that I'm afraid for them with what happened and with what happened to this individual, how they were taken to this house. They thought it was Mexico. They thought they were investigating a lead. There were so many red flags that should have showed this person that no, this isn't legit state, and yeah, pictures were taken of their phone, their wallet. A lot of crazy stuff happened, and I don't know. I worry because I know how dangerous it is out there. It's nuts. If anybody that's been with us on any of these boots on the ground, boats on the water efforts, you know how dangerous it is out there, and you have to be very aware, like extra aware. And unfortunately, this instance did not bring any awareness to this person, and they're going back out there. I think they're back out there today. I don't know. All you can do is just hope, because honestly, I honestly feel like if it was a bigger name that we would still be asking, where's this person at? I think they kind of let him go because he wasn't a big name, and it wasn't going to bring any attention. I don't know. It's like from the beginning, I was There a lot of these people out there are new to this kind of work, and you just you try and give them a heads up, and uh, it's just you just worry about them because, man, the awareness level is not where it should be at, especially because we don't even know where she left. We don't even know like how Nancy left. We don't even know what exactly took place. We don't even know what direction. It's been over 2 months. There's no updates, there's no leads. It's nothing. There's nothing. You could you couldn't even tell me this direction. You can't even say that. Nothing. You can't even say what color of eyes this person has. You can't even say like what this person's face looks like. We don't even know the DNA. They've had DNA for 2 months. Still nothing. No news. Video of the person multiple times. 2 months. Still nothing. Multiple ransom notes. How many ransom notes? We're going to be breaking them down all night tomorrow night. We were going to do it tonight, but we're going to do it tomorrow night. Prayers for Rosie. Hope she feels better. She had a hell of a show this morning. Go check it out if you haven't. She's breaking down the Megyn Kelly investigation series on the Nancy Guthrie case. But Savannah returns to yesterday, and all of a sudden, Harvey's back on the thumbnail. We got another note. Why hasn't anything, like, why have we not even found out who this person is? Now, there's some people claiming, it could be, what was it, JLR's ex? Not Magnolia, but some other ex supposedly came out and said that one of the ransom notes could possibly be JLR. And I'm sitting there going, let's think logical here. Do you think that JLR could evade the FBI? I don't freaking think so. So how in the hell would it be JLR? Like, for real. Now, are we seriously thinking that JLR could evade the FBI? You're out of your freaking mind. The dude's a felon. There ain't no way. The crimes that he committed, it ain't that good. It ain't that good in order to send ransom notes. And the FBI still can't figure out who you are. Come on, you know what I'm saying? Let's be freaking, like, it's so crazy. I don't know what the hell is going on out there. You got criminal network out there flashing fake badges, promoting police brutality on another content creator that's coming out there, that was out there, and it's like, what the hell is going on? You hear, like, there's neighbors of Nancy's that are coming out saying these people that are streaming, it's ridiculous, it's disruptive, it's disrespectful, it's at the point where they're just done with it. You see them try and come in the neighborhood and they get booted out. They get the cops called on them. Hell, like, why are we still going after Tommaso? When did we lose faith in the FBI's polygraphs? You know what I'm saying? They have 2 children at home. You don't think the FBI probably talked to the children and said, hey, children, was your mom and dad here all night? Did you hear any weird sounds late at night? Did you hear them coming back? Did you hear anything out of the ordinary? Like, they're going to talk to the people themselves, and they're going to talk to the surrounding people as well. What were you doing? When were you doing it? Let's look at your phones. What were you doing? You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why the FBI cleared Tommaso, Annie, Savannah, You know, there's a reason that they cleared them because they had nothing to do with it. So the fact that you got JLR ripping tail, chasing Tommaso, running stop signs, driving recklessly just to tail him, and Tommaso had to call the cops on him because he was in fear for his safety. It's like Bullhorn Betty turned fucking male. Bullhorn Betty chasing down the Proudfoots. The Proudfoot parents. I can't remember their names. Chris Proudfoot's mom and dad. She was chasing them down, threatening them outside the freaking window and everything. Like, where, like, it's like we get sucked into our own, like, okay, I guess if I'm listening to phone calls and talking to people every single day about how Tommaso is my main suspect and I'm hearing it in my ear every single minute, okay, maybe my brain might go, oh man, Tommaso's still, but this is a grieving family member. Where is the respect and the dignity and the decency for another human being? You don't know all the evidence. None of us are inside the investigation room. Yes, we do stuff from our own in a distance in different ways, but damn, none of us are sitting in that boardroom. None of us are sitting there, access to every single amount of evidence that's possible. Listen, I'm not saying Pima County. I've never once said I trusted Pima County under Sheriff Nanos. You know how I feel about that. I'm talking the FBI. You're talking to people over here that has given evidence to the FBI that's made a difference. The FBI kicks ass. So I don't understand where the loss of trust in the FBI to the true crime community, to the ones that sit there and go, even though the FBI cleared Tommaso, he's still my main suspect. I don't understand it. Look, could he be suspicious? Yes. Does he look suspicious? Yes. Yes. Thought it the whole time. But did we ever dig into it? No. No, we never went through Tommaso. We never went through the bandmates. We never went through the homeless man and gave his middle name out there even. And no. Until somebody is an actual person of interest, or the evidence is just too overwhelming to show that, you know what? Stephen Smith case, I called out the two main suspects almost 4 years ago when I got a hold of these documents, interviews. I got a hold of these documents, interviews from law enforcement in South Carolina. I told everybody who my two main suspects were. Almost 4 years later, now they are being named suspects. Look, there's a difference when there's so much evidence, documented evidence, to show that somebody is a person of interest. But what kind of evidence is there against Tommaso other than he looks odd? Like, okay, so they dropped him off. Yes, they probably dropped him off. They did drop him off. But it doesn't mean that he came back out there and made his mother-in-law disappear. So the fact that we're chasing him down because the news is so slow and you got to stay out there for another 2.5, almost 3 weeks. JLR's got to stay out there almost another 3 weeks because he's definitely not going to pay the flight to go back home and then pay another flight because he has to come back out to Arizona because he was harassing Nerdy, because he's got to show up on 4/28 in Arizona to court. And then after that, and then to pay for another flight, JLR's not going to do that. He's going to sit out there this whole time and just try and figure out, what am I going to do next? Because he's definitely not going to pay for 2 flights that he wasn't planning on paying for in the first place, just to have to show up to court because he was being unhinged one day and decided to show up at an airport and harass. I mean, crazy shit, man. Crazy shit. But you got Coattail Network. That dude, supposedly the bodyguard, that dude's getting big mad on our last show because we were showing he was waving fake badges, saying he was going to arrest Nerdy, saying he was going to police brutality Nerdy. And we were just highlighting that as part of the Too Much Shit to Title episode. I mean, I think it was like, I don't even remember. We went through so much stuff that night. So much stuff. But as soon as I was done, dude wants to leave a couple messages on there. It's like, look, bro, I got some burning questions for you, buddy. I got some burning questions for you. I offered an invite. But it's kind of funny because his community wanted to mass report our live stream afterwards. That was pretty interesting. He wanted to give me a middle finger and then blocked me so I couldn't even respond. It's like, what the hell? What the hell? Ted's coming back. He's supposed to be back today. I don't know. Just pray for him and tell him to go home and practice for some local stuff first. But the note comes out the same day Nancy returns. I don't know. I'm just wondering, why in the hell have they not found this person sending the ransom notes? It makes absolutely no sense. The only thing that makes sense to me is, like I said from the beginning, because after the first week, I'm like, come on, guys, this is the FBI. They do this. You know what I'm saying? They do this. The only way they can't do this is international, from another country. Because of some international laws, our government is only able to go so far. That's the only time this happens. When stuff over the internet and you can't find out who, and you can't dig that little bit more deeper that would show who it is, you can't do it because of international laws. That's why I've said this whole time that, to me, these ransom notes were nothing but just another country. I'm not going to say them. I said them before. Another country/countries just trying to rip off some more Americans. I mean, think about it. They did it with the COVID money. They did it with the stimulus money. They did it with all these different, the unemployment. I mean, how much money went to these other countries because of scams from unemployment? Like, these other countries have hit us quite a few times with some major stuff. COVID money, unemployment, a lot of stuff. So to me, it just made sense. You know what? Our FBI can't find out who the hell it is. They can't find out who the hell it is. To me, that says it's international law stopping them, because our FBI kicks ass. To me, our FBI kicks ass. International laws. So the ransom notes were never real. This is why the ransom notes were never real to me in the first place, and why I even went down the path that it was international. Because there was no proof of life, number one. The most important part of the ransom, any of them, and I'm talking any of them, the most important part of any of these ransom notes not being real is the fact that there was no proof of life. Even to the point of, if she did pass away, which is what I've said from the beginning, is that I didn't see her making it past that first sunrise that morning that she was abducted. She was gone before that sun came up. That's to me when she was gone, laying in some bushes a half mile to a mile away from the house. Grid ground search still needs to happen, day 67. But no proof of life. That is why these people do the ransoms in the first place. Is it not? They take something and then they'll give it back for you to give them something. And their leverage, their power, their trading card is proof of life. So if there's no proof of life, even if she passed away, you still take a photo of her when she's still alive, like maybe when she was laying in her bed, maybe when you were bringing her out to the car. Who knows where you took the photo, but you still took the photo when she was alive. Because if you did take somebody for a ransom, let's think like a criminal, ladies and gentlemen. If you did take somebody for a ransom and something happened where they were bleeding the way Nancy was on the front sidewalk and you went, crap, I don't know if this lady's going to make it, you take the frickin' picture. Why? Because even if she doesn't make it, you still have the proof of life. Even if she did make it, because guess what? The people you're trying to get the ransom from don't know that she's dead. All they know is there's a photo of her that shows her alive. That is why they do the ransoms in the first place. So, if their goal was to do a ransom and something bad happened, they would send a ransom and say, here's our proof of life. Here, she's still alive. Give us our money. And the family wouldn't find out that she's dead until they went to go get her. That's how it would happen. Now, another scenario would be that they went there for the ransom. Something bad, unexpected happened. Crap, we can't control the blood loss. Look, we got too much evidence dripping all over the car, man. It ain't worth it. Let's just get rid of her. Snap the photo real quick. Snap. Then you get rid of her in the bushes, half mile to a mile away from the house. Then you could easily go, you know what? It's not even worth it. And then you just let her be and you don't even do the ransom note. You do not send a ransom note and not offer a proof of life. Why are we sending it to TMZ as well? That's another thing to me. So number one, no proof of life. That's the biggest one. No proof of life, no ransom. After that, Savannah is very accessible. She's the main host of the Today Show. She has how many different emails that you could send to her alone? You may not know the brother's email. You may not know the sister's email. You may not know the son-in-law's email, but you can definitely do a simple Google search and find out Savannah's email. You could find out probably her on Facebook. You could find her on the Today Show. You could have her business email. Hello. There's so many different ways that you could have gotten contact with Savannah. So the fact that you're sending it to TMZ, not only one time, how many times? Over and over and over and over and over. Why? Listen, how many ransom letters go to a celebrity gossip news channel? I'm just asking. How many ransoms go to a celebrity gossip news channel? I honestly can't even think of any. But you know how many ransom letters go to the families? Wow, yeah, almost all of them. And so you have somebody as accessible as Savannah, yet we're going to keep sending ransom letters to TMZ. Okay. To me, again, international. Why? Oh, because international wants the headlines, don't they? They want us to look stupid. They want us to do the little ransom. They want the government to look like they Like they fail, oh gosh, they settled for a ransom to find out. That's why I've said, why doesn't TMZ pay the half a Bitcoin now that's being requested from this person? We're going to listen to it in a second. But why don't they pay for it? Why are we even doing videos about it, right? If I was them, this is what I would do. I would have got that ransom. Listen, if I really care about Nancy and I'm not caring about the headlines, this is what I would do if I was them. If I'm getting if I'm getting this ransom letter, right? Guess what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to make a video to make it public. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the FBI and I'm going to say, FBI, I got another ransom letter. I got another ransom letter. And the FBI is going to go, okay, can you send it over? And I'm going to say, yes, I can. And then I'm going to talk to the FBI and I'm going to say, FBI, you don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to ask what I should or shouldn't, right? So then after the FBI gets their information, I'm going to pay the fucking half a Bitcoin. You know why? Because I want the location of Nancy frickin' Guthrie. That's why. And I'm going to make sure that the government has no idea that I'm going to pay this half Bitcoin, because I don't want them to have to make it seem like they were the ones that negotiated with an abductor, because they didn't. They didn't know that I was going to negotiate with an abductor for a half a frickin' Bitcoin. One video on TMZ earns more than $25,000. Hello? How much do they make off of these videos off of Nancy Guthrie? You can't pull together $25,000 to pay half a Bitcoin to find out the damn location of Nancy Guthrie so the family can have her and you can go, FBI, look, get mad at me if you want. I paid the half a Bitcoin. This is Nancy's location, FBI. That's simple. Why? Now you got $1 million reward and not nobody calling in for nothing. Not anybody in jail. There's no prison snitches saying, hey, guess what? I got the lowdown. Because really, the streets is where you hear it. The streets talk. The streets always talk. You may not know what's going on up here, but if you're in the streets, you hear it all and you hear the damn truth. The streets know it. And the fact that there's not even a prison snitch right now, even in Arizona or even locally, that is saying, hey, I got something on Nancy Guthrie. $1 million. How many $1 million rewards are there? Not very many. Not very many at all. And not anybody calling in that tip line, trying to collect it. It's very odd, right? Again, these are all reasons why these ransom notes to me have not been real, have never been real, and won't ever be real, no matter how many times we get a new video pop up on our feed that says another new note. Another thing, why are we trying to collect the money online? Why are we trying to create a digital footprint? Why are we trying to create a digital footprint in the age of 2026 and technology and artificial intelligence is reaching bounds that we have? It's crazy how quick technology is coming at us. And we're going to try and collect a ransom online digital footprint? Like, seriously? These are all reasons to me why these ransom notes have never been real. Now, just like I said a little bit in the beginning of the show, there's some people saying it could possibly be JLR. His JLR's ex is saying it could possibly be JLR doing these ransom notes. Let's be real. JLR is not that sophisticated to evade the FBI. In fact, he's probably on their list. Just saying. Just saying. He is not evading the FBI. And he's not doing these emails from his James Bond telephone that evades all international traffic, even our government that has technology that we don't even know about. Look, it's as simple as international law. Look it up. A lot of times it's unfortunate because it happens in a lot of CSAM cases because international law, a lot of these companies are in Europe. Okay, I'm not going to name specifics, but in Europe, there's a lot of these companies over there that it doesn't matter how hard the FBI pushes, they don't have to do shit, and there's nothing that the FBI can do. That's why international laws, to me, that's just it just makes sense to me. Now you have, he's not evading them, don't worry. Now you have other people also saying that Harvey Levin could be creating these ransom letters. Okay, I'm gonna give some real talk here. Now, and this goes to anybody that's even thinking about doing this. Don't do it. It's a freaking huge ass crime, okay? And depending on states and all that other stuff, I mean, we're talking all of it, we're talking federal, okay? Harvey Levin, listen, as much as I'm like, I'm tired of these notes coming out, and I'm tired of the video from 5 videos ago. We're not going to talk about any more ransom letters, even if we get another one. That was like a month ago, and now we keep hearing about them even more. But Harvey Levin is not going to sacrifice his business, his career, his name, his reputation, his freedom to create fake ransom letters that he himself is turning into the FBI. Harvey Levin is not that freaking stupid. And there's no reason that the cost benefit of you putting these out and the attention that the cost, that it's just, it doesn't make any sense at all. As much as I'm like, is he to me, is he creating, is he overblowing these? I believe so. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's why we're going to be breaking down every single frickin' TMZ ransom note discussion, appearance, all of it. We're going to be breaking down tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern, with Rosie. Prayers to her again. She's not feeling good. She couldn't join it tonight. We would have done that part tonight, but we're doing that tomorrow night instead, and that's fine because it'll probably take the whole show to dig into those alone. We're going to be going through some other stuff with the ransom notes tonight, plus some other updates here as well. Thank you all for being here in this extended intro of conversation about these notes. But no, Harvey Levin is not going to create these ransom notes. It's not Harvey Levin. It's not JLR. Is it some sick, twisted individual? Yes, it is. Is it somebody from another country? I believe 99.9% it is, because if they weren't, they would have been caught already. Do I think this has international restrictions on it? Yes, I do. I've thought that this whole time. It's just another country trying to scam Americans because we care about our own. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. All of these other programs, USAID was getting scammed. I mean, there's so many of them. Work and contributions that are meant for others that are less fortunate than ourselves, and it gets turned into some kind of scam. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous and it's unfortunate, but it happens, and that's how it's happening. So we're going to go through this. Brian Etten talks about it a couple times. We're going to go through some new Harvey Levin stuff first. I want you guys to hear what he has to say. Now, he is given more details about the ransom letters now, which is nice. He's given more details. I see where he's coming from, if everything is true. But again, I have to sit there and go, why not one of these letters did you not just pay the ransom on your own to get the information for you know what I'm saying? To get the information from everybody? Come on now. All right, we're going to say what's up to everybody. Right, they got that poll up. Make sure you vote on those polls. Are any of these ransom notes real to you? I want to see this percentage when the show's over. I'm very interested to see. Really, I am. I'm interested to see how many of y'all think these ransom notes are real. How many of y'all think they're fake? I'm even contemplating opening up the phone lines for a little bit to see how y'all feel, because I would like to hear why people might think they're real, because I gave y'all the reasons to me why they're fake and have been fake. I would love to explore why people think they're real. Let me, if you think these ransom notes are real, let me know in the live chat tonight. Let me know why you think they're real. Because listen, I'm not saying I'm right every single time, because I'm not, and I'm not saying I can't change my mind. Because some of y'all might give me some good points, and then hey, I'd like to know. Caddy, ticket 14, there's a lot of chat that happened the night before. That was my apologies. This live was supposed to be scheduled for tonight. I said it yesterday, and I thought that I changed the day to today. And then when I was sitting back watching, I was watching this documentary on serial killers and the mind of serial killers, and all of a sudden there's a notification going off that I'm supposed to be going live, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? And it was after like 2 hours later, after the live was already notified that I was going live, and I'm like, what the hell? You could even see, like, so I apologize about that. Obviously there was some chat when everything got switched on tonight. I think it just gets rid of it. So if you did type before, Caddy, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys, and I apologize that it didn't show up. Thank you for the ticket. Welcome to you as well. What's up, Christine? Chicago as usual. Got to represent the C, baby. Especially them Chicago dogs. Those drive-thrus, you know what I'm talking about, Christine. Those drive-thrus that serve those dogs. Ooh, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. Let me see here. Jay Gallagher, what's up? Thank you for hopping in. Yeah, you got to represent the C, Miriam. Good evening. Yes, Baby Angel. Was it last step? When was it? I think it was the last live stream with me and Rosie where I brought Baby Angel on camera, I think, right? Yeah, I had to go down and grab her. She was downstairs. I had to go grab her. But tried to like get her to say hi to the camera. She was all ready to just start running around. What power do they have to make him respond? What's up, Criminal Med? Who we talking about? What's up, Silence in the Evidence? I like that name. That's a cool name. Does anybody, what's up, Joel? Does anybody think they have ideas about what and who, but they're not saying anything? I don't think so, Joel. I don't think so. Because if they did, that person would already be in custody by now. I mean, you can run, but listen, when you got video evidence, you got video evidence, you got DNA, you know what I'm saying? Those two things alone, the FBI will find you. You know, they will find you. Now, it might take them a little time to figure out what direction, but once they figure out that direction, they're on you. All right. We're talking day 67. They've had the DNA since the first they showed up on the FBI showed up on day 4, I think it was. Remind me if I'm mistaken. I believe it was day 4 the FBI showed up. They've they've had the DNA since day 4. Now Sheriff Nanos wanted to be a butt about it. There was a little bit of delay on that, but yeah, they've had the evidence from the very beginning. So the fact that nobody's in custody, no. And if they didn't have somebody in custody, they would have the name, they would have the photo, they would be on they would be one of the America's most wanted. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. If they had a suspect, I guarantee they would be one of the America's most wanted. Because we're talking about huge ass ransom. Remember, in the very beginning, one of the first ransoms was $6 million. It started off at 4, then it went to 5, then it went to 6. We're talking big money here. We're talking big money. I guarantee you that person would be on the America's Most Wanted list. Guarantee it. Name, photo, everything. I don't think they have anything. The reason I don't think they have anything is because the investigation was botched from the very beginning. It wasn't closed down whatsoever. When you have officers showing up and the family is saying, we think this might be a ransom, which they probably saw the blood on the ground that the police officers didn't see. The Pima County Sheriff didn't see the blood on the frickin' front sidewalk, but I bet the family did. And they were like, yo, this is like a ransom, man. This is too weird. Our mother can barely make it to the mailbox. There's no way she's going to go out walking and nobody can find her. She can't make it that far. And that's on a good day. They knew somebody took her. They had to assume, well, the only reason somebody probably took her is because Savannah is making $8 million a year. And when you look at those first ransoms, $4, $5, $6 million in the very beginning, that's half. That's 2/3 of Savannah's yearly salary from the Today Show. $8 million. So the ransom makes sense in the very beginning if there was proof of life. No proof of life. No proof of life. So definitely would be on one of the America's Most Wanted, and we would know the name, the photo. They might be in this location. Trust me, there would be something that gets put out that lets America know this is who we need to find. Because look, if they can't find them, but they got the info, they got the digital evidence, and they got the DNA, right? You can figure out the name. You can figure out after you figure out the name, you can get the photos. You're already releasing it. We need to find this person. Next thing you know, this goes across the world. The face alone goes across the world. He could change his name. The face alone goes across the world. He's getting brought in. Hey, I think so too. We got some burning questions. Like, why are you pretending to be a cop? Why are you pretending to arrest people? Why are you promoting police brutality, sir? You're going to tase somebody just because you want to tase them, and then you're going to make it seem like you had to tase them even though you didn't have to tase them, so you could keep tasing them. I'd love to hear the answers for those on the record. And people defend that shit. It's wild, man. Ted, yes, Ted, I know. I'm just saying, it's like I was telling Rosie, I was like, that dude like barely made it out and his shirt got caught in the door getting shut, and he was able to just rip it out of there and survive. Next time, oof, I feel bad. I feel bad. You think that they're not saying this, they're just fake. It's gotta be. It's gotta be. Now, I'm not saying the ransom notes are fake, because I honestly feel that they're being used to scam money out of Americans that care. because that's what these other countries been doing already. They got away with how many millions and billions of dollars alone that we have to pay back as taxpayers. You know what I'm saying? They're just trying to do it again. That's why the Bitcoin ransom is a half a Bitcoin now, because it's what I've been saying for weeks. It's not about the amount of money. It's about the fact that they got the negotiation to take place. That's where they win. They don't win with 6 million. They don't win with 4 million. They don't win with 25,000. They win because they got somebody to negotiate. That's where they win. That's what they care about. But they want the U.S. government to be the ones to do it because they want the U.S. government to have egg on their face. That's why. That's why I've said, why don't TMZ do it? Because they're not the government. TMZ is not going to have the egg on their face, and we can get the information. 25,000 ain't that much for them. TMZ has more global reach than the Today Show. Yeah, they do. Because honestly, I've seen TMZ for years. How many times did I see the Today Show? Maybe the Idaho 4 case? I don't know. Yeah, Harvey Levin, if anybody remembers the People's Court, with Judge Wapner. If anybody remembers the People's Court with Judge Wapner, guess Harvey Levin was the guy that was reporting from behind the courtroom. Does anybody remember that? Like, Harvey Levin has been an attorney for a long time. He just started this TMZ stuff like, what, 15 years ago or something? But dude, if anybody remembers the People's Court, Judge Wapner, Harvey Levin was the dude standing back there with the microphone. Okay, so what did you think about that verdict? That's what Harvey Levin was doing. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for... Come on, right, Kat? Yes. So what did you think about that verdict? Are you satisfied? That was Harvey Levin. He's been around for a long time. What's up, Cindy? Thank you for hopping in. How many elderly women with limited... That too. You know what I'm saying? That's why, to me, before we seen the video, I was like, look, if this had to be a robbery gone wrong, and the only reason that somebody takes an elderly person is because they didn't give them the PIN number to the ATM. And you know what? If you're not going to give me the PIN number, pistol whip, blood on the front sidewalk. If you're not going to give me the ATM number, then I'm going to bring you with, because I'm going to make you give it to me, right? That's the only way that you bring an elderly woman with limited... You know what I'm saying? If it was a robbery. That's it. Why hasn't the FBI... Exactly. Like, there's not even... What's up, Mike? There's not even a profile. Thank you for hanging out this morning, everybody who was with Rosie this morning. Appreciate you guys. She had a hell of a show. Part 2. She did her part 1 a couple days ago. She'll be having her part 3 coming up soon. And then she's got some other cases she's going to be bringing to you guys. But that's exactly right. Why? And you know why? It goes to the same reason why I said they don't have anything. They don't have a suspect. They don't have a lead. They don't have a direction. They don't have nothing. There's not even a profile. They can't even give you a profile. They can't even give you a profile. Not at all. So many signs to show. CJ, I need a Kit Kat bar. Give me a break. No way any of those of you mentioned involved in... Give you a break. Those sound so good now. Damn. You know, I got some triple chocolate coffee from Great Value, the Walmart brand, and I tell you what, it's like drinking hot cocoa and coffee at the same time. It's the best invention in the whole wide world. Triple chocolate coffee, Great Value, great shit. And that was not a paid promotion. That was a promotion because it tastes so good. Who has anything to gain from an 84-year-old woman who has needed help with mobility issues and daily medication? Right? They didn't even bring the medication, right, Joel? They didn't even bring the medication. If you're trying to get a ransom, don't you want to make sure your meal ticket has their medication? Hello? Hello? Are we here? You know what I'm saying? I definitely think that the one when Savannah went back to the dictate show is fake. Well, according to Harvey Levin, this person has been there from the beginning. So I don't know what to take of that. Like I said, we were, and I'm kind of glad that we're gonna just the whole episode tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. Me and Rosie, the whole episode is going to be dedicated to every single TMZ ransom note. We're going to be breaking it down from beginning to end. Every time there was a notice, every time Harvey Levin wanted to hop on somebody else's freaking channel to talk about the newest TMZ ransom note. It's all going to be in chronological order. We're going to be breaking it down. I'm tired of hearing these ransom notes. I'm sitting there. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to tell you what the damn truth is because I'm going to break it all down. Rosie's going to be there. She's got a lot to say about it too. Tomorrow night is really going to be, it's going to be a hellfire show tomorrow night because I ain't messing around on these ransom notes. This shit's getting ridiculous. The family already goes through enough, and then they get another ransom note, and it just makes them victims again. And let's not get sucked into all the glitter and confetti that's dropping in front of us over the real stuff. So we'll see. I don't know. We're going to go back to the very beginning of it all. So tomorrow night, I'll have a notey out probably after the show's over tonight for tomorrow night's show. For people who don't know, Nancy Grace is a former. Yes, she is. Yep. And has yeah, she does. Yep. She's actually had a show for a long time, probably 20 years, you guys. She's been doing her own shows on TV. But yeah, she used to be an attorney. Plus her own husband was murdered, and that's what got her into this stuff. What other reason would there be to take the body unless you were looking for ATM? That's the only thing. ATM. Prefer. Oh yeah, that pizza. But them winners ain't no joke. I'll tell you that. Yes, they have DNA. I thought they would too. Yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, we're going to be covering the Nanos stuff here. There's a couple updates I want to go through with you guys before we listen to Brian. And then he had a good guest on that was talking about these ransom notes too, Joe Paparino or something like that. I'm not sure. We'll check that out. But yeah, we're going to listen to this Nanos stuff. I'm going to read an article to you guys, and then we're going to get in to the gizzards tonight. And we just went ahead. Rosie's not feeling good. She's feeling sick. So prayers to Rosie. Hopefully you're feeling better, Rosie. Get to feeling better. We're going to do the ransom note breakdown tomorrow night. It's nice we're moving it to tomorrow night. We'll have the whole show tonight. I was kind of worried about trying to fit everything in. Now I don't have to be so worried. So it all worked out. Definitely you'll want to hop back in tomorrow night as we go through it. I'm ready. I'm ready to dig into every single one of these in order. We're going to break it down. These ransom notes are driving me nuts. I hear you. I know absolutely nothing about Bitcoin. What's up, Allison? The whole case is off. It is, isn't it? It is. The whole damn thing. I watched the people's do. So what did you think about the verdict and the outcome? That's all I think about. And Harvey had a hell of a lot of hair back then too. You guys got to check it out. Look up Harvey Levin, the People's Court. you'll see what I'm talking about. Also, it'd be potentially very hard, I think, for one person to get a limited mobile. Well, we showed that there was two people. In the very beginning in our video edits, there's two people. One is walking from left, right on the curb of the driveway in front of the trees between Nancy's house and the road. So there's that half circle of the driveway. The video edit shows somebody walking on that curb of the driveway that's in front of the house, and then you got the trees behind them, and then they walk over to the right and stand in front of one of the other trees, and then they stand there until the person on the porch is done. That's already been exposed. So we already know it's at least two individuals. Yes, that was the worst part. Like, it's her first day back at work. It was a joyous occasion. Now, some people say, well, it looked like a lot of clickbait as well. Like, she, like I don't know. I'm not going to repeat exactly because it's a little insensitive. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to repeat it. But, there's some other talk about how her return to the Today Show was, how should I say, what's the good word for it? Meant to be clickbaity, I guess. Meant to be clickbaity, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, we're going to read through an article real quick. Thank you. There is a poll up on YouTube. I know we're streaming on X. We're streaming on Facebook. Come on over to YouTube, sub up EvilleCJ, and you can vote on the poll. I am curious to know and see what the results will be at the end of the show tonight. How many of you all think these ransom, any of them, how many of you think any of these ransom notes are real? I'm curious. No proof of life ever since day one. All right, so we're going to check out this update. Now, the county administrator got together over the last couple days. They were discussing Sheriff Nanos and a lot of the stuff that's been coming out. We've heard about the 300 deputies. There's a lot of backlash coming out with Sheriff Nanos now, especially him lying under the oath in the past about his disciplinary, truthful and forthcoming about it, under oath to get the position where he's at. Now, how he got the position is a little sketchy too. Somebody else was in office. I think either they passed away or they left, and he was kind of, it wasn't like a real frickin' election. It was kind of twisted together. Now, obviously, we're talking about Pima County here, and if you didn't even look up his past history, because he had to have given you the places he worked at before. Yeah, I worked at this department, I worked at this department, I worked at this department. The fact that you didn't do your own homework as Pima County, well, that shows as much negligence on you as it does on him for lying on his resume. So the fact that he lied on his resume, that's on him. But the fact that you didn't do your own homework, as Pima County should, well, then that's what happens. You allow a sheriff to be a sheriff that has this history that eventually is going to come out, and then this stuff happens. It's your fault too. So we're going to listen to it. It's a little 5-minute clip. He's expected to respond. So they came up with a list of questions for Sheriff Nanos at this county administrator hearing. Now he had 10 days from yesterday to respond to it. He's got 9 now. Do you think he's going to respond to it? I'm wondering what his responses are going to be. Now, here's this video. Then we're going to read this article real quick. Check this out. This is over on Twitter. By the way, here, you know what? Yeah, let's go to this article first. Screw it. We'll go to the article first. So this is News 4 Tucson KVOA. Pima County supervisors looking for answers from Sheriff Nanos. There's the guy. There's his mean mug right there. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos has 10 business days, now 9, to respond to a list of questions from county supervisors. The Pima County Board of Supervisors met behind closed doors with outside lawyers for hours before deciding how to move forward. Supervisors are asking Nanos 4 categories of questions. First, his time with El Paso police, including the time he was there, why he left, and the discipline he faced. See what I'm saying? We want to know about El Paso, Mr. Nanos. We want to know why you left. We want to know the discipline you faced. Very interesting questions, huh? You think he's going to respond? He better. And he better not lie, because that record's already been out. We already showed it on a few streams back. It's a couple pages, and it's a whole lot of not good. Tell you that right now. It kind of goes along with how Coattail Network is approaching his whole fake badgeness. Same kind police brutality. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's promoting. Nanos did it. Nanos was part of police brutality. It's in his record. Second, disciplinary action involving his former opponent in the sheriff race, Heather Lappin and Aaron Cross, currently with the Pima County Deputies Association. Now, we heard what Heather Lappin had came out and said about Sheriff Nanos. Heather Lappin was running against Sheriff Nanos, and Sheriff Nanos put her under suspension unjustly because she ran against him. Now, third, any talks he's had with immigration enforcement authorities since 2021. Now, that's interesting to me. That is very interesting to me because that's something I haven't even thought of yet. And why would they want to know about talks that he's had with immigration officers? What do you guys think that's about? I'm trying to think, what would that be about? Why? Because he had talks with illegals and he would bust them for crimes and let them go? Like, what? Any talks he's had with immigration enforcement authorities since 2021, and that was 5 years ago. That's very interesting. I wonder what that's about. I haven't heard anything about the immigration stuff because when I was looking at his record showed, doing stuff. Jay Gallagher. There you go. Trying to add them to his payroll. Son of a... This guy is dirty, man. This guy is dirty. Finally, questions about the budget, including what he's doing to stay in budget moving forward. Supervisor Matt Hines brought this measure forward to the board. So they have questions about the budget too. Oh, damn, what you been spending your money on, sir? Hopefully not that Corvette. Based on the writing of the law, if he does not respond or if he does not substantively respond, meaning if we say, tell us about your work history, and he talks about the last time he detailed his Corvette, that would not be a response, and the board could then take another vote to say you did not meaningfully respond to the questions, and therefore you did not comply with, and we could move forward with potential removal. He said they ain't messing around. And look, they even brought his Corvette in the mix. That's a personal jab right there. Listen, if we ask about your work history and you're talking about how you cleaned your car, we can move forward with removal. They ain't messing around. Sheriff Nanos can either respond to the questions in writing or answer them in person at the next supervisor meeting. Hines said if Nanos does not comply with answering the questions or does not answer them to the supervisor's satisfaction, they could take steps to remove him from office. News 4 Tucson reached out to the sheriff's department for a reaction and is waiting for a response. It's kind of like I brought up to you guys a couple shows ago. The Nanos Nixon nepotism. If anybody's studied the presidents and specifically Richard Nixon's term, you'll understand why Nanos and Nixon ring the same kind of bell. Now, if you know what I'm talking about, when it comes to being at a high level of position, it's obvious that you're corrupt as hell. It's obvious to everybody, even your colleagues, it's obvious. But you have yet to admit any mistakes. You have yet to admit any wrongdoing. You have yet to be aware of the situation and the temperature of the room enough to the point where you're sitting there telling everybody else that they're the delusional ones and you haven't done anything wrong and your investigation is going great. It's going to take you actually removing this person, because remember, Nixon was still fighting all this. I am not a crook. I am not a crook. He was fighting all this, firing people left and right. Look at what Nanos has been doing, firing people, doing shit. If Sheriff Nanos says that he can do it, then it's not illegal, right? Firing people, getting rid of people, high-level people, people that have experience, people that know how to do the job, getting rid of them. Nixon was defiant all the way until he had absolutely no choice, because they said, if you don't resign, we are going to remove you at this time on this day. And he waited until the absolute last moment to then go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what Nanos is going to do. Guarantee it. I guarantee Nanos, even if, look, Nanos he might just say, screw it. Just like what Nixon did. I ain't going to say shit. I don't care. I don't have to write nothing, and I don't have to answer them. Or if I do, I can answer them just broad and general, just to satisfy it. So then it'll just take a little longer, and then the road gets dragged on a little longer. And only when they say to him, if you don't resign tomorrow at 8 a.m., we are resigning you. That's the only time Sheriff Nanos is ever gonna resign. So I'm not saying he's for sure gonna write something or respond to it. I can literally see Sheriff Nanos not answering nothing and just waiting to see if they're really gonna remove him. Because the dude, when you're not aware, you don't see any of that stuff. You don't see any of that stuff. Of course, he can mold the officers he's surrounded himself with to do and think like he does. That's why you got current Pima County sheriffs saying that the people that are in the positions to do the jobs that they're supposed to do ain't even qualified for it, because Sheriff Nanos has his cronies in those positions. That's why Nancy Guthrie's missing persons case was looked at as somebody who wandered away instead of being closed off, crime scene closed off, looked at as an abduction. It's because he had one of his cronies up there doing a job that he had no business doing. because he can mold those people. You don't need people that will fight you. You need yes men when you're that way. So he don't even realize. Sheriff Nanos don't even realize. He don't even realize that this is some real stuff, and he doesn't even think he's doing anything wrong. So he could sit there and go, I ain't responding to nothing. They're going to have to remove me because I ain't done nothing wrong. Show me what I've done wrong. And then he's going to go, they're going to have to vote me out if I'm leaving, right? Over my dead hands. That's how it's going to be. He ain't leaving voluntarily. The only way he's leaving is if they're like, tomorrow at 8 a.m., if you ain't resigning, we're resigning you. And then he'll come out that night and say, okay, guys, look, it's better for Nancy and it's better for the community if I leave, right? He's going to spin it about how he cares about the community. And that's why he's going to leave office and all, not because he did anything wrong, but because he cares about the community and he doesn't want the distractions to interrupt what the real work that's going. It's all about the community. Yeah, you know, the same fake stuff you hear all the time. Same fake stuff. That's only when. All right, we're going to listen to this. This was at that hearing. Sheriff Nanos, 9 more days. I'm giving it a 50-50. He gives him a response and he don't. Because I think that he's just going to be like, you know what? You're going to have to force me. I ain't leaving. We'll see.
The item passes 5-0.
Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you very much.
Now we are moving on to item number 8. This is the addendum item number 8. This was a request of a report from Sheriff Nanos, her ARS 11-253. So I will read what the best way to present this. I will read and then we will further discuss and vote on the language that that we will be putting forward. Okay. All right. So this is the text that will be communicated to Pima County Sheriff Nanos. There will be a cover letter that precedes this, but the heart of the communication is this. Recent public reporting has raised questions concerning several matters involving the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Accordingly, pursuant to ARS 11-253, the board requests a report from Sheriff Nanos addressing the facts and circumstances related to each of the following matters, together with any corrective actions taken to date, any additional actions proposed, and a timeline for implementation where applicable. Number 1, prior representations regarding your employment history with the El Paso Police Department, including A, the circumstances of your departure, B, the dates of your employment as reflected in application materials, resumes, and prior testimony with Pima County, and C, any prior disciplinary history, including suspensions. For this matter, please also identify whether any inaccuracies or omissions occurred and what steps, if any, you will take to address this matter, restore public confidence, and ensure the accuracy and completeness of your official background and employment representations in the future. 2, the disciplinary actions involving former Pima County Sheriff candidate Lieutenant Heather Lappin and Union Leader Sergeant Aaron Cross, including the process standards and considerations applied in those matters. For this matter, please also identify whether existing policies, procedures, and supervisory practices adequately safeguard impartiality and consistency in disciplinary decisions, and describe any steps you will take to clarify standards, strengthen review processes, and prevent the appearance of retaliatory or uneven enforcement in future matters involving employees engaged in protected or political activities. 3, the nature and extent of communications or coordination between the Pima County Sheriff's Department and federal immigration officials since 2021, including how those interactions align with the department's stated policies and public representations. For this matter, please also describe any written policies and procedures currently governing such interactions, whether those policies have been followed consistently, and what steps, if any, you will take to clarify departmental guidance and public communication on this issue going forward. And finally, 4, there have been repeated instances where the Board of Supervisors has been informed by the Finance Department that your department would exceed its budget. Please describe how and why prior department expenditures have exceeded your budget and what you have done to address budgetary issues in forthcoming budget cycles. The cover letter accompanying these questions, per the statute, will communicate that we will expect a report in 10 days. That report can be either written or verbal, and will coincide with the next Board of Supervisors meeting.
So there. Oh, hold on. I thought we were done. Hold on one second. I thought we were done. Hold on.
I will move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion.
Chair Allen,
Supervisor Scott.
just to clarify, when we said 10 days, we meant 10 business days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that was clarification for me. So that is 10 business days that he has. So there's Saturday, Sunday that don't count. Then another one. So basically, let me see here. 10 business days from yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that'll be the 21st is when we can expect a response. He's got till the 21st. He's got more than 10 days. He's got quite a few. He's got a couple weeks now. So that was regarding Sheriff Nanos. So he's on the ball. And it sounds to me, number one, that they ain't playing. And it also sounds to me that they're asking these questions because they're like, Sheriff Nanos, we know that they're, saying it without saying it, right? Sheriff Nanos, we know that you lied. We know what you did. And we want to see if you want to be honest with us or not. It's that simple. Let me see here. I wanted to go to Banfield had Harvey Levin on last night. Give me 1 second. I need to find that episode because he actually talks a lot more than the one on TMZ. Where did that go? Just give me 1 second. I thought it was Ashley Banfield's channel. Hold on. 1 second. I don't know where it went. We'll go to this one first, and then we'll go to some of these other ones. We'll go to Brian and after that. She had Harvey Levin on. It was a unexpected video that they put out there. Here we go. So this is Ashley Banfield. Let me share this real quick. We're just going to check out the part where she discusses the ransom letter with Harvey Levin. So let me drop that. There's the link to Ashley Banfield's channel. And we're going to check this out here real quick. Let me skip ahead to where Harvey Levin joins. Listen to what he says about this newest ransom letter. Okay. Then we're going to listen to Brian Etten and the guests that he had on, because he's going to break it down. Former law enforcement. He's going to tell you some real about this ransom letter too. So let's check this out. Harvey Levin on Ashley Banfield's channel. Drop Dead Serious. Yes, Drop Dead Serious.
Now here's my conversation with Harvey Levin.
Here's Harvey Levin.
So Harvey, more activity, more communications from these alleged ransom seekers.
Well,
this is somebody, we've gotten more than a half dozen emails from this person. This is somebody who says they know who the kidnappers are, plural, and where Nancy Guthrie is. We haven't heard from this person in almost a month, but today we got 2 notes from him. And, you know, he is persisting. Now he wants half a Bitcoin and he will divulge the location. Now, he says that she is in Sonoma. Let me just
Sonora.
check. Sonora,
Yeah.
Mexico, and says she is dead, but says that he can lead them to the kidnapper. And so, you know, he said this before, but, you know, he is kind of repeating what he told us early on, which is she was no longer alive as of the Wednesday after she was kidnapped.
And the interesting thing is you have turned all of these communications over to the FBI.
Yep.
They won't tell you, they won't tell anybody what they do with them. But I mean, you're privy to the Bitcoin wallet.
Yeah, and so far no money has been deposited.
Yeah, he's privy to the Bitcoin wallet. Why are we not giving the 25,000 half a Bitcoin ransom to find out not only the location of where Nancy's body is? We're talking if it's true, she died the Wednesday after she was kidnapped. We're talking over 2 months she's been laying there. And they're going to lead you to the kidnapper and the body. Come on. You've already made way more than $25,000 off of Nancy. Why isn't JLR paying the half a Bitcoin? Come on. Somebody pay it. We just need to find out where she's at.
And look, I've talked to the FBI and to them, look, I'm not you, and you clearly know a heck of a lot more than me, but my spidey senses are just telling me something about this guy, because they asked me a long time ago to put the word out, which we did, that anybody who is, you know, doing this as a hoax to get money would be prosecuted by the federal government.
Yes.
And this person wrote back and said, I understand that. I am not in any way hoaxing.
Okay, so do you guys think that is real? Do you think it's real? Do you think that because they said, hey, look, let him know. Now, this is what's interesting, right? So Harvey just said he talked, because he's going to contradict himself here in a second. He just said, we talked to the FBI, and the FBI asked us to remind this individual, hey, this is a major crime here. And he just said, they responded, I understand that. I'm not messing around. Now you'll later hear Harvey say, well, we can't respond to his ransom notes. So if you can't respond to the ransom notes, well, then how in the hell are you responding saying, hey, they just wanted me to remind you that this is a very serious crime for anybody that's making it up? And he said, oh, we're not making it up. Listen again. You'll hear what he says.
What he told us early on, which is she was no longer alive as of the Wednesday after she was kidnapped.
And the interesting thing is you have turned all of these communications over to the FBI.
Yep.
They won't tell you, they won't tell anybody what they do with them.
Listen,
but
watch.
I mean, you're privy to the Bitcoin wallet.
Yeah, and so far no money has been deposited. And look, I've talked to the FBI, and
See, I've talked to the FBI.
Frankly, said to them, look, I'm not you, and you clearly know a heck of a lot more than me, but my spidey senses are just telling me something about this guy, because they asked me a long time ago to put the word out, which we did, that
See, the FBI asked him to put the word out a long time ago, and they did.
They asked me a long time ago to put the word out, which we did, that anybody who is, doing this as a hoax to get money would be prosecuted by the federal government. And this person wrote back and said, I understand that. I am not in any way hoaxing.
So the person wrote back, we just heard it again. He talked to the FBI. The FBI asked him a long time ago, and he did. And let that person know you can't be joking around. This is a serious crime. And that person then responded and said, we know that. We're not joking. Now listen, he will tell you, we can't respond to those. Well, then how in the hell did you respond to these? If you can't respond to them, then how did you respond to them?
This is real. And then the other thing that just got me was, I believe it was the Tuesday after Nancy Guthrie was kidnapped. He sent us this note saying, I know where she is. I know who the kidnappers are. Time is of the essence. That was on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, we got another note from the same person, but said, time is no longer of the essence, meaning, I think, she is no longer alive, right? Well,
so that right there. Now, if any of these ransom notes are going to be real, any of them, because again, no proof of life, what are we doing? No proof of life. Even if they're not alive, you still take a photo while they're alive, so you still have proof of life, so you can still get your ransom. Because you're going to get the money before they get the person. That's how it works. You give me the money, I tell you where she's at. That's how it works. You get the money first, then they find out she's dead. I mean, that's how it happens in ransom sometimes. But the only way that any of them seem legit whatsoever is these two key details that he just told us right here, regardless of any of these other, because there was other times, and we'll break them down. Me and Rosie tomorrow night, 7:00 Central, 8 Eastern, we're going to be breaking every single ransom note in chronological order. And we can remember back then, he didn't mention these things. He said, it's very serious. If you remember, he was telling you how serious it was when he got these ransom letters. Very serious. Very serious. You could see how serious. You'll see. When they come out with the one, time is of the essence, he's just letting you know, this one seems really legit. You can see in his words. So now he's actually giving out information that he hasn't given out before. On the Tuesday after they got the ransom letter that said that time is of the essence. Then the next day they got the ransom letter from the same person that says time is no longer of the essence. Now those two things, if any of this stuff is going to be legit, those two things would be legit, and that's just because she didn't make it that long. Now, I'm still under the feeling that she wasn't even alive past that first sunrise that morning that she was taken. But if any of this stuff from any of these ransom notes is legit, to me, it would be, look, time's of the essence, blood loss, not having the proper medication. They can obviously see something, you go cold turkey off of no meds, that shit does crazy things to the body. I can imagine they would probably be like, damn, something's wrong with her. What? And she's probably telling them about the medication. Time is of the essence here. We need to quit tiptoeing here. And then the next day, hey, she didn't make it. I can see that stuff being legit. That's it.
If somebody is carrying out
That's
a hoax, why would they take the immediacy away and say she's no longer alive? That made it feel to me like there's something legit. Because why would he?
Because it was fake. Because it was fake. Thank you, Enlighten. I appreciate that. No problem. I'll share the link to this episode too. Thank you. I don't know. If somebody's calling and saying time's not of the essence anymore, again, where's the proof of life? We've never had the proof of life. Doesn't make sense whatsoever.
He say, why would he take away the incentive to get the money fast?
Or take
And
away the
it-
incentive
it-
for
it-
a bigger payout.
It's just bugged me that there's something about it that I just thought I took more seriously. They have very consciously looked at this. They've tried to find out who this is, but they are not convinced enough to pay that money. And I know that as of a conversation I had with the FBI today.
So he knew that as of a conversation that he had with the FBI yesterday. That's when I don't tell the FBI, because I'm sure in the background, the FBI is probably going, man, I wish he would just pay it. Because they're not trying to negotiate with the kidnapper. They're not trying to negotiate with the murderer. They're not trying to negotiate Bitcoin ransoms. They're not. That's not what they do. Because you know how many ransoms we would have if they did. That's why we don't negotiate. But TMZ, that's no thing. I can listen. We could. What are you going to tell me if the New York Post was the one that was getting these ransom letters? Are you going to tell me the New York Post wouldn't pay the half a Bitcoin to get the information? You're out of your mind. You know they would. Why isn't TMZ doing it? You know these major publications would. Do you know how valuable that information is? Do you know how much free advertising you get as a network when all of a sudden the FBI's coming out and they're giving you a photo and a name of this individual? They found Nancy's location, and you don't think that the network that supplied the half a Bitcoin ransom to get the information, you don't think people aren't going to find out? You don't think they're not going to come out with a special series episode on how they obtain the info? I mean, come on. They would get so much free advertising alone for being the ones that got the information. It just makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense why TMZ isn't paying it. Just to confirm, your live show has been... Oh, thank you, Enlighten. I didn't know about the FBI international laws. Yes. Yeah. I first started researching that. I was covering the Delphi case about 4 years ago when I started my YouTube channel. I was covering the Delphi case for a little bit, and we started digging in because a lot of these apps that these criminals were using were apps that were tied to European countries where if law enforcement needed to find out, like who is sending this information, this and that, they had to go international. And there was instances where our own federal government was blocked from pursuing investigations further because they couldn't get the permission from whatever country that was to further, and they wouldn't even assist in the investigation either. So when they weren't allowed to come out there and further investigate, there was instances where they asked if they could have assistance from their law enforcement officers to help them further. They were shut down because these other countries create safe havens for these networks, and they use these international laws to create these safe havens for these networks, and then they make money off of these networks because they give them safe havens. it's a very dirty game, and unfortunately, a lot of our children are targets for these individuals. It's very sad. Very sad. Very sad. Thank you for the kind words, though. I appreciate it. All right, here's Harvey some more. He said he just heard from the FBI today that they still don't think it's real.
And so to be clear, because I think a lot of people are getting confused about all the different ransom notes, Savannah herself made a comment to Hodakapi saying, the 2 ransom notes we received, I tend to believe they're real. Those are the ones that originally came to you, correct? And KVOA and I think another Tucson local station?
Yeah. So there are 2 different things we're talking about. These notes that I've just mentioned are people, not somebody who was a kidnapper, somebody who says he knows where the kidnapper is and where Nancy is. The ransom notes you're referring to, yes, there were 2. They were written by the same person. We know that because it has the same Bitcoin address in both. We received the first one along with 2 Tucson stations, the local stations. The second one was sent to just one local station, their K-Gun, but it's from the same person. I know that the FBI believes that those ransom notes are real, that is from the kidnapper. They have done everything they can, from what I understand, to figure out who sent these notes. They were...
Okay, so they figured those ones are real. Let's let him say that again. Which ones he's saying they think are real?
Ransom notes. Savannah herself made a comment to Hodakapi.
Let's listen to that
saying,
again.
The 2 ransom notes we received, I tend to believe they're real. Those are the ones that originally came to you, correct? And KVOA and I think another Tucson local station?
Yeah. So there are 2 different things we're talking about. These notes that I've just mentioned are people, not somebody who was a kidnapper, somebody who says he knows where the kidnapper is and where Nancy is. The ransom notes you're referring to, yes, there were 2. They were written by the same person. We know that because it has the same Bitcoin address in both. We received the first one along with 2 Tucson stations, the local stations. The second one was sent to just one local station, their K-Gun, but it's from the same person. I know that the FBI believes that those ransom notes are real, that is from the kidnapper. They have done everything they can, from what I understand, to figure out who sent these notes. They were on with my IT team for hours and hours and hours, working with my IT team, and they came up dry. And they could not find it, and they still haven't found out who wrote it. This is a cold case, and they're just waiting for one of those breaks that often comes, but they are at a dead end right now.
Yep, they're at a dead end. It's a cold case. There's nothing going on. Nothing at all. No leads, no direction. Now, just like I've said back when they first came out, the 4, the 5, the 6, those are the ones that did seem legit in the beginning until you started waiting as another day goes by, another day goes by, another day goes by, and it's like, why? Where's the proof of life? Where's the proof of life? Where's it at? Just like I said in the beginning, it would seem legit because Savannah's yearly salary from the Today Show was $8 million. You're asking 4, 5, and 6. That seems legit. Hey, at least give me half of your yearly salary. At least. Okay, you don't want to give me half of it? Well, then give me 2/3 of it. Give me 3/4 of it. Half, 2/3, 3/4. You can give me something, right? You got enough funds and assets that you can come up with $6 million. Where's the proof of life? I guarantee you, if they would have got proof of life, I guarantee you that Ransom would have got paid. Guarantee you, because Savannah was already trying to pay it in the beginning, remember? They told her not to. I believe it would have got paid. Now, Again, you hear Harvey himself say right here, just like I brought up in the beginning, international laws. He said they had their own IT looking at it. He said the FBI was looking at it. He said they were working together trying to find out who was sending these, and they came up absolutely dry. How do you come up absolutely dry in 2026 with how digital footprints play such major key roles in investigations? How do you come up dry, especially the government? International laws, because that's the only roadblock. International laws or an international country. And hell, we just heard about the operation that the United States did when they rescued that other fighter pilot that was stranded in Iran. We just heard about that. You know what I'm saying? They got into that country's freaking communication to where they were able to distract and have their own army go in a complete opposite direction from where the guy we needed to go rescue. If we can literally tap into their communications to make their army dart off into another direction, you don't think we couldn't find out if that person in that country was doing this rant? Yes, we could. Obviously, our government could. So the fact that the FBI is coming up bone dry tells me international laws. International laws. And they can't just blame a country. Yes, France is not allowing us to further. They can't do that. They can't do that. Can't do it. And yes, France is one of those countries. Whoops. Why are they not asking for the full reward amount? That too. Why are we not down to 2 million, right, Jay Gallagher? Why are we not at 2 million to give the location? Look, we were asking 4 in the beginning. Then we asked for 5 after the first deadline passed, which usually you don't even get a second deadline when you're dealing with ransoms. Let's be honest. The fact that they got a third deadline that went to 6 million. You went all the way up to 6 million when she was alive. I think $2 million is a fair asking price to give the location up, right? But we got somebody that just wants $25,000. You think $25,000 is gonna, like, if you're that worried about your safety, number one, why are you not calling in the tip to the FBI for the $1 million if you had nothing to do with it, right? You state that you know who kidnapped her, and you state that you know where the body is. You didn't have anything to do with it. You know where the body is, and you know who abducted her. Why are you not calling the FBI, getting that $1 million reward? Because you know they will get you in witness protection program ASAP. You know that, don't you, brother? They will get you in witness protection program ASAP. But we're going to keep complaining to TMZ, and we're just going to ask for $25,000 now. When $25,000 doesn't even save you or your family from the people that you're worried about in the first place. $25,000 is a drop in a bucket when you're talking about the people that could be involved in who you're afraid of. $25,000 ain't nothing. It would take a hell of a lot more money to get you into safety if that's what you're worried about. So why wouldn't you turn, if you had nothing to do with it, why wouldn't you turn the information over to the FBI? They put you in witness protection. They keep you and your family safe automatically, and you get to collect the $1 million when they find out, if you're being honest, that you had nothing to do with it, and that they find her and they find the person who kidnapped her. I mean, I don't understand why you keep running to TMZ. Makes absolutely no sense. None.
You heard from the FBI that they believed those first 2 overtures were really from the kidnappers as opposed to scammers overseas or some ne'er-do-well?
Yes, and they are from the same person.
Holy cow. So when Savannah said that, she must have had that indication from the FBI, they must have told her that they thought that they were real.
The amount
Yeah,
seems
now what
legit.
I don't understand is that she was going to pay, and for whatever reason they backed off. They had a reason for backing off, and I know they did something. I don't feel comfortable saying it, but they did, because they had asked me not to way back then. I don't know if it's changed at this point, but they thought they had a way of tracking that Bitcoin address. Didn't work.
Holy cow. And there's been no other communication.
So that's why they backed away. So the reason they backed away is because they had no way of tracking the Bitcoin address. Which, again, doesn't make sense, because any law enforcement officer will tell you our FBI has the capability to find out. When it comes to that, our FBI has the capability to find out. Any law enforcement can tell you that. So the fact that they can't find out, again, international laws. International laws.
Ever since those
And the people that are doing this know that too. That's why they're doing it, and they're not worried about it, because they already know they can't do nothing to us anyway. So we're going to go ahead and try and exploit it. They already know that. That's why they commit these crimes over here, or allow apps and other companies to set up base over there, so they're protected behind their laws. So then shady ass shit can continue to happen on their social media platforms.
two, right? Like there was the first
Hand in
note
hand.
that said you've got deadlines, right? You've got a Thursday deadline, and then you've got a Monday deadline, and then that second one that went to Kagan, you said. And how is the second ransom note different from the first? What was it suggesting?
I never saw it. I never saw it, but I don't think it changed the game from what I'm being told by the FBI, that they believe from the same person.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now. I don't see. I think that's a little overblown. I'm just going to be honest with you. The FBI is not going to offer that information to Harvey Levin. They may talk. Listen, they probably won't even talk to him much about his own shit. But the FBI is not going to entertain a conversation with one person regarding another person's evidence that they turned in regarding the same case. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So the fact that he's sitting here telling us that the FBI told him about the other letter that he didn't get and it wasn't a game changer, the FBI is not going to say that to him. That is Harvey Levin himself telling you what he thinks and using the FBI as credibility to what he's saying. That will go in handy when it comes to our breakdown of every single TMZ ransom note in chronological order tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern, with Rosie. Prayers to her. Hope she's feeling better. I think he did a little bit of over-exaggeration on this part right here.
The way of tracking that Bitcoin address didn't work.
Holy cow. And there's been no other communications ever since those two, right? Like there was the first note that said you've got deadlines, right? You've got a Thursday deadline, and then you've got a Monday deadline, and then that second one that went to Kagan, you said. And how is the second ransom note different from the first? What was it suggesting?
I never saw it. I never saw it, but I don't think it changed the game from what I'm being told by the FBI, that they believe from the same person. It had to be, because the Bitcoin address is the same.
They believe it to be the same. Had to be. So he's telling you they believed it, and then he's giving you all of his opinions. Well, it had to be. It had to be.
And they just told me that it
overblown
was from the same person.
And those folks at KGUN never did disclose the contents of their
Overblown.
note.
They've never talked about it. We don't know what's in it.
They're not going to tell Harvey Levin. Listen, I don't know what the hell he's doing. They're not even going to tell Harvey Levin it was from the same person, the ransom letter. They're not going to tell him that. See, all these other ones, and I'm glad we're going to be breaking them down tomorrow night, because all these other ones, I'm sitting there going, damn, there's another one. Damn, there's another one. In the very beginning, damn, there's another one. But as time goes on and 5 ransom letter videos later, after the ransom letter video where you said that you weren't going to be making any more videos if you get another ransom letter again, and then you made 5 more since, and it's like, what's going on here? You're doing not only these, but then all of a sudden you're doing like 3 different podcasts talking about the new ransom note and this and that, and it's like, okay, now I need to go back and look at all these other videos in chronological order and see if I can sniff the hot dog steak from back then without the emotion being tied into it, because it was like, oh my gosh, this is serious. There's a huge ransom.
Read it. But it didn't change the game. The person
Didn't
who wrote
change
that
the
first
game.
note, they believe is the kidnapper. And they have just come up dry.
And we know that they use the same Bitcoin address in the note that went to you and the 2 stations and to KGUN. That second note, they all had the same Bitcoin
That's
address.
what I'm told.
So the interesting thing is, Harvey, if you think back, and it's hard now with 64 or so odd days, Savannah and her family did a second or subsequent address on Instagram saying, we understand. We've heard your communication and we understand. And we just now want her back with us so we can celebrate with her. And we're willing to pay. And that to many people sounded like, we've heard what you've said. We understand what's happened. We still want a body back. Like it sounded as though they had made an overture that maybe Nancy died.
I agree. I mean, that's the way I took it as well. That's the way I took it as well. Again, if you believe the guy who's been writing us these notes, she died somewhere between Tuesday and Wednesday after she was kidnapped. And I don't know whether that's because, look, and they said in the letter that they would kill her if they didn't get the $6 million by that Monday. So it's unclear whether this was foul play or she died because, she was ill, she didn't have her meds. So I have no idea. But if you believe this guy, it happened somewhere between Tuesday and Wednesday.
So the ransom letters did threaten to kill her.
Yes.
Oh. All right. And so let's be clear.
And I want to say one other thing.
Yeah.
When I talked to somebody from the FBI today, this person wanted us to repeat that there is still a $1 million, actually $1.1 million reward out there. So, they're hoping, because they believe money can be a motivator here. And that's why they're doing it. But they wanted that word out because they feel like people have kind of forgotten it. But there's a lot of money on the line for information.
And I think it's even up to 1.2 million with the different sources. But 1-800-CALL-FBI. I say it on every podcast, 1-800-FBI. That guy had to be scared. He had to act differently that day. I always say, for people who think that someone they know acted in a weird way in those dates, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Harvey, the letters that came.
Also, I do want to say one thing as well, because again, 2 individuals, again, large amount of blood loss, not able to stop the bleeding very well, wasn't prepared to cover the camera when they ripped it off the front door, was definitely not going to be prepared for the amount of blood loss from somebody that they can't stop the blood loss from. Had to hurry up and get rid of her. If anybody, and this is why I'm saying, they had evidence dripping in the car. It was getting to be too much. They couldn't stop the blood loss. Had to get rid of her real quick. After they got rid of her, they had to drive the car out in the middle of somewhere, ditch the damn thing, set a torch to it, drive it into a lake, get rid of it. And try as much as you can to get rid of whatever DNA that you can get rid of, if you can get rid of it all. But you're going to try. You're going to ditch it in a lake or torch the damn thing in the middle of nowhere. If anybody picked up 2 hitchhikers and you didn't see a car around in Arizona or the surrounding states from February 1st to February 3rd. Call that into the FBI too. If you seen or picked up 2 hitchhikers in Arizona or the surrounding states between February 3rd, the 1st and the 3rd, and you didn't see a vehicle around, and you picked up 2 hitchhikers that needed to go back by the Tucson area, call that in for a tip as well. Because I honestly think that's exactly how it happened. They couldn't stop the blood loss, had to get rid of her real quick, ditched her in some bushes, half mile to a mile from the house, had to hurry up and get rid of the vehicle next that had the only other connection to him from the crime, get rid of it, hitch a ride back to Tucson, and then go back, figure out a way to go from there wherever you came from. Call that in too, please.
Came out today to you. It seems like there's a mixed message. Like in the first letter, does he say she's dead? And then the second letter to you today, he says, I saw her alive with them in Sonora.
No, he never said she was alive at all. He says she's dead.
But he just said after you talked about when you did your TMZ live today, they sent a second letter saying, quote, I saw her alive with them in the state of Sonora, Mexico. Maybe he's referring in past tense because in the first letter they said she's dead.
It's past tense. It's past tense.
Yeah.
I saw her, he's saying I saw her alive with them in the state of Sonora, Mexico. My request is not huge. And he goes on. He's talking about, he says he saw her there, but he's talking
Past
back
tense.
then.
Yeah. And now he's definitive
In the first,
that
yeah.
Nancy, he says, if this person is truthful, he's saying that Nancy is dead.
Now, again, I talked to the FBI about this. I had a fairly long conversation today. And, it's just, I've gotten to know some of these people and we were just talking. And I said, look, I feel kind of out of place to even say it. There's just something that's been gnawing at me with these letters that, this guy knows it's a federal crime. He keeps sending these notes. And it was that whole thing about time is no longer the essence. And they said, yeah, we hear you. But, there are a lot of crackpots out there. So maybe they know something. I mean, I'm sure they do that I don't know. But on the one hand, they seem to be dismissing it. On the other hand, I can tell you they spent a heck of a lot of time trying to track down this guy's email, and they weren't able to do it. I'll tell you, that's the craziest thing about this, Ashley, is that this is 2026.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, it's like the perfect crime that I
really
didn't think
is.
that existed anymore. But that you can kidnap somebody from a residential area where there are cameras that people have in their homes, and yet you can't find the car.
Yeah.
And that you've got these emails and you can't trace the emails, and you got these Bitcoin addresses. And I can tell you that the FBI did something with that Bitcoin address from the kidnapper, and they actually did something, came up dry there. And I just never thought of the perfect crime being something like this, where somehow you could evade everyone. Now, there were clearly mistakes made, especially by the sheriff. Nonetheless, the FBI came in and they got nothing. And in 2026,
Hard to believe.
it is really stunning.
It is.
Yeah, I mean,
it is.
You've got all of the opportunities for the regular forensics to work, right? A guy's got a bite light in his mouth, which he had to put in and take out, maybe with those gloved fingers, and touch something. Door handles to get in, the actual bracket behind the camera, which he's messing with. There's all sorts of opportunities to find that, right? There's a vehicle that he had to have conveyed Nancy in. You can't take her on a bike or a moped, you know? Then there's the digital trail, and none of this is working.
Because it was a botched investigation, let's be honest. They didn't even close it down even though there was blood on the front sidewalk, a whole bunch of it, They didn't close down the crime scene. They were looking at it as she wandered off, even though the family was trying to tell them that couldn't have taken place. When you shut down, open up, shut down, open up, shut down, open up a crime scene, you allow for a lot of contamination, especially if your crime scene was this big at the beginning and then it goes out further as you shut down, open up. What do you think's going to happen when you don't take one of the most critical pieces of evidence that is literally on the front door stoop, the mat that had the person walking on it? Who knows what's in their shoes that got jammed into the fibers of that floor mat? Who knows if they were bleeding and their blood landed on the floor mat next to Nancy's blood? Who knows? The fact that that wasn't even taken, the fact that anybody could come up, step up there and put a business card on the front door, step all over that blood. It's not a surprise there's no leads or suspects now when it comes to no Bitcoin information, no lead digital footprint. Yeah, in 2026, it's wild. And it's kind of scary too, because as we've learned and we've been seeing all these cases that we've been covering, technology has played major key roles in these cases. The DNA, the digital footprints, the video evidence, major key roles in these cases. And yet they can't get nothing from any of these. It makes absolutely no sense.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
You know, we cover so many cases, as do you, where, you know, people make mistakes, they get spotted, and he just disappeared.
Yeah, vanished. And as did she, which is just so. Tell me about the frustration in this latest email from this perpetrator, or at least the person who suggests he knows the perpetrators. I would consider this a perpetrator as well. He feels like millions of dollars have been wasted, yet here I am willing to deliver them on a silver platter, meaning willing to deliver the kidnappers. And he's talking plural. I don't know if he's talking about them in plural or them in the singular sense.
He's constantly talked about them in plural.
He is?
Yeah.
And he seems angry that the FBI is dismissing him.
He's been kind of bent out of shape from almost the beginning, saying everybody thinks I'm crazy. They don't take me seriously. He's gone on and on about this. And he says, you know, at different times, at one point he said he had a criminal record. I forgot what he said the crime was, but it was some kind of burglary or something like that. And that he was worried that they might try and implicate him, and he would have to go underground, take care of his family, he said. And that's why he needed the money. So, you know, he's kind of given this life story in kind of a weird way over a series of letters, but that's his point. He's saying that I'm going to be put out a lot by cooperating, so make it worth my while.
Well, what doesn't make
worth my
sense?
while is a Bitcoin, and now he's saying, give me half a Bitcoin up front, and I'll give you the info.
Half a Bitcoin's about $35,000. A full
Right.
Bitcoin is about 69 or so today. It's gone down since the original overtures, but $1.2 million would certainly guarantee him a whole lot of freedom and protection from whoever it is he fears. It just doesn't make any sense. Are you able to email him back?
Protection from the government.
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't.
So he just says right here, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yet we can sit there just a couple minutes ago and say, yeah, we were urged to email back and let him know it's not a joke. This is serious. This is serious. They responded, yes, we know. We're not joking around. But yet, are you able to email them? Nope, we're not able to. So which is it? You were able to email back, or you weren't? Do you see why I said he kind of over exaggerated on his answer from before, even when it came to this KVOA news station, Channel 4? Oh yeah, they told me it was the same guy. Yeah. They don't work that way, buddy. Especially with evidence from somebody else. That's not how they work.
The original overtures, but $1.2 million would certainly guarantee him a whole lot of freedom and protection from whoever it is he fears. It just doesn't make any sense. Are you able to email him back?
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
But yeah, and he addressed the reward. I don't know he addressed it after they made it 1 million, but when it was 100,000, he said, I don't trust the FBI. That's why he started contacting us. He said, I don't trust the FBI. So, he said, we're going to you guys. And we ended up doing, social media which he saw. And we said, look, if you don't trust the FBI, give us the information and we'll convey it to the FBI. Yeah. But now you've got a record through us that you've given us information. So they're not going to screw you out of the money if you really believe they would do that, because we have the record that you gave it to us and we gave it to the FBI, but he didn't do it.
Well, you're playing checkers and maybe he's playing chess, and right. Suddenly he didn't know what to do other than.
Okay, so if he's playing chess and Harvey's playing checkers, then how come the person that's playing chess didn't know what to do against the person that's playing checkers? The person that's playing chess is a lot smarter than the person that's playing checkers. I think the person that's playing chess would absolutely know what to do. This makes absolutely no sense. Just like the contradiction. Yeah, we were able to email back and forth. Hey, he said it's not a joke. Nope, we can't do it. Nope, we can't do it. Nope, we can't email back. Nope.
Just rant and get angry and just try again. I know your time is precious, and I'm just very appreciative of the time that you've given us. Keep me posted. Let me know if you hear again.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the whole Harvey Levin thing from last night, or it was early this morning, I think, when it came out. This is from overnight. So that's what I was saying. Like, contradiction, you got overblown. That's why we're going to be digging into every single ransom note from beginning to end. We're going to sniff out all the bullshit. What's up, Rachel? Maybe it's one playing. Maybe. I don't know. It just, I don't know. Makes absolutely no sense. None of it does. But that's why we're going to be breaking them down all tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern, me and Rosie. Going to be sniffing out the BS and exposing it and showing y'all, because this don't even make sense. This latest interview don't even make any damn sense. None of it. All right, we're going to switch to Brian Enton. Let me get his channel link for you. I'm sure you're subscribed, but if you're not, definitely go show some love to him. Let's be for real, right? How are you doing? Hopefully you're doing good. Thank you for hopping in as well. Brian Enton, we're going to switch to him. So he had a really good interview a couple days ago. This was from a former law enforcement officer, and he's going to be discussing the ransom note. And you're going to see all the stuff that I've been saying for the last 2 months and why I think these ransom notes aren't real. You're going to hear from this law enforcement officer. He's going to give you the exact breakdown on why he thinks it's not, just going through everything based on the investigations that he's done in the previous past and kind of applying it to this one and what makes sense and what doesn't. So shout out to Brian Enton. We're going to be switching to this. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you very much. Please hit the like. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. And make sure you check out Rosie's part 2 from this morning. She's breaking down Megan Kelly's Nancy Guthrie investigation and going through everything. She's doing a hell of a job over there. Shout out to her. Prayers to her. She's not feeling good tonight. We were going to be doing the breakdown tonight, but we're going to go ahead and move that over to tomorrow night. So prayers to her. Hopefully she gets to feeling better. She did a hell of a show today too. Definitely go check it out once we're done with this one. All right. This is Brian Enton, and he's going to be having, what's his name? Joe, Joe, I don't know. It doesn't say in the description. He's going to say the name when we get started on it. This is the latest Brian Enton episode from yesterday or the day before. And this is him talking to that law enforcement officer. Check this out.
I am joined now by Joe Jackalone, a retired NYPD sergeant. He's been involved in a ton of criminal investigations and cold cases over the years. Joe, thank you so much for joining me. Really, really appreciate it, sir.
Thanks for having me on, Brian.
I first want to ask you about this new development within the last couple of hours. TMZ.
Contribution call out. Thank you so much, Rachel, for becoming a new member. Let me get that members link for you. It's got a ton of boots on the ground footage. Plus, we'll be uploading a bunch more here soon. I just started actually going through it. I got about 5 terabytes. And I've actually got more footage now. I have to get another storage device because my other one's filled up with footage. And I definitely am keeping all of my footage from all the cases I worked on. Plus, I've been working on some other stuff here recently. And I got some other footage. I don't have any space to put it. So I definitely got to start going through my stuff. Definitely. Definitely. Next time it says not member. I appreciate it. Hold on. Let me see here. I think I have to type this for it to show up. Hold on 1 second. I think it's member playlist. There it is. There it is. So if you want that playlist, all you have to do is type in ! member playlist. And there you go. If you're a current member, just got gifted one, or thinking of becoming a member, here's the playlist link. And we're going to be doing Idaho 4 again coming here soon. And if you're into Idaho 4, you'll definitely love the footage of the first time that I showed up to 1122 King Road on the year anniversary of the crime. Giving you the exact foliage, the exact daylight, the exact everything that happened when the crime took place. I even take you to the back of the house when the house was still up. That's why I made the trip out there on the year anniversary out to Moscow, Idaho. Did my boots on the ground investigations out there because I needed to hurry up and make sure I did that, not only on the year anniversary, but also because I knew that house was getting tore down during the winter break. And so I had to get out there and get my work in out there. So if you are a member, or like Rachel just became one, thank you again, Rachel. Appreciate that very much. Definitely click that link and that'll give you all the members only videos that we have up there now. Like I said, I got like 5 terabytes and I'll be doing some shows here. I've been real busy outside of the show, but we'll be doing some shows here soon where I'll be doing members only shows, going through the footage because I actually need your guys' help. I got so much footage and so much to go through. I actually need your guys' help to let me know like how we can organize this stuff. You know, like, oh, you should upload that one. Oh, you should upload this one. Oh, you should upload this one. You know what I mean? Like, I got so much. We're going to be sitting back, members only. We're going to be sitting back, just going through each little thing, each case that I worked on, drone, foot, boat, all sorts of different footage. So many different cases, too. I'll probably be starting that here in about 2 weeks. I got about 2 weeks more of some other stuff that I'm working on outside the show. And then I should be wrapping up after that. And then we'll be able to start those episodes. I'm excited because I was actually going through some of my footage from the Stephen Smith case that I did some boots on the ground work. If anybody knows that case, I was going through some of that footage. That was from 2023 is when I was working on that one. And I was starting to go through it a couple days ago, and I was like, oh damn, I forgot. I have stuff that I forgot I even have. It's drone footage. I was like, damn, I forgot about that drone footage here. Yeah, I'm excited. Oh, thank you so much, Rachel. The $9.99 prickly pear with the cape. Thank you so much. And let me give you a contribution call out. Thank you so much, and applause to you. Oh, thank you so much, Dolores. Thank you so much, Dolores. Keep up the good work, and thank you for the kind words and the support as well. Let me go ahead and give you a round of applause, too. Thank you for also being a member of the community. Thank you again, really. I appreciate it more than you know. And it definitely helps more than you know. All right. We're going to be, like I said, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. Me and Rosie going to be breaking down every frickin' TMZ ransom note in chronological order. And we're going to be sniffing out the BS in real time in chronological order. And by the time we're done with the episode, we are going to give you our conclusion, our little mini breakdown end game, what we think, where the BS started, how long the BS lasted. If there was BS, we're going to be breaking it all down. And the real question is how cell numbers to text. And Todd, sorry to say. What do you mean? What do you mean? And yes, thank you. How you call numbers to text anytime. And now Rage, listen to the man who I finally caught, and no BS will spill out. Oh, let me know what you numbers to text. Annie and Todd. How'd Ransom person? When did the Ransom person text Annie? I never heard of that. Who reported that? Because I think if they text Annie, I think the FBI, they'd be able to find out who that was if it came through a text. Annie and hubby. Yeah, who reported that? I've never heard of that before. I never heard of that. That's interesting, though. Let me see. You can send info to any of these locations. Oh, the fake. Oh, okay. Yeah. That guy from the very beginning. That's right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. That's right. Yeah. What's his name? What? Oh my gosh. Yeah, because we had video of him walking out of the courthouse. What was his name? That's a good question, but sleuthers can get that. Sometimes it's not. I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is one of the reasons. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is one of the reasons why, if you know how to look up information, it actually with the age of technology, it actually benefits the people that are very good at digging for information, because there's so many less restrictions on information nowadays. Yes, that's right. It's actually a benefit for people like us because there's so many less restrictions and you have access to so much more information. When it came to their phone number, we probably could have got it if we really wanted to. And it probably wouldn't have been that hard. So if you know what you're doing and you know how to do it, really, I don't think it would be that hard at all, honestly, because there's footprints everywhere. You find the footprint, that opens the door, and then once you get the door open, you can get that information. So, you'd be surprised at what most people leave behind or leave outside. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to that person getting their phone number, I'm not going to say it's easy, but I'm not going to say it's hard either. It's like in between. It's like medium. And he admitted, I guess, went to app and text both of them. Yeah, like he could be one of these dudes that's just like our team. You know, we're real good at digging up information. Yeah. IT. Yeah. Like, if you know what I'm saying? If you know how to get stuff, it's when you're looking at like Annie and Tommaso, you know what I'm saying? Like Savannah, that would be a little more difficult, right? Savannah's would be you'd actually have to put some work into that. But to find Annie and Tommaso's phone number, I honestly, and I haven't even tried to look, but honestly, I don't think it would be that hard. I think it would actually be kind of easy, to be honest with you. So, like a bit light for a military. Yeah, the bit light. That's one thing that I just, you got DNA all over it. I've been saying it from the beginning when that video dropped. You got DNA. The door didn't just open miraculously. He had to touch it. He had to touch other things. We're talking about Brian Kohberger, skin cells, 9 skin cells we're talking about. And we got saliva, not touch transfer dead skin cells. We got actual saliva being placed on different items at the scene of the crime. And we can't even get a name or a direction. All right. So this is some more ransom note talk. Thank you again, y'all, for being here. Appreciate it very much. And thank you, Rachel, for becoming a new member. Appreciate that too. Definitely check out the first time we went to. It was the first time I went to 1122 King Road, and you can feel it as I'm going there, and we're getting closer, and then we pull up to the back of the house, and it's like, ooh, yeah, you can definitely feel it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it was a feeling. You could feel the energy before you even made it to the house. And then when I sat in the back, you could feel the energy of that's where the killer sat there, because it was such a perfect spot for somebody to commit that crime. It was a perfect house to commit that crime. Just like Nancy's house was a perfect house to commit this crime. Look for the video section in my channel. Look for the video how I did it, and you can see how it went down on the outside. All right, this is Brian Enton with ex-law enforcement, and they're going to be talking about the ransom note. He brings up a lot of great points. This is why we're going to be showing this one. And then again, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, Rosie and I are going to be breaking down every single ransom note, sniffing out the BS.
Reports that they've received another ransom note.
More ransom.
I've always been a little skeptical.
By the way, there is a poll up there. Let me know. I'm going to check it at the end of the show. I want to know how many of y'all think any of these ransom notes are real, and how many of y'all think they're fake.
Of the ransom notes, especially from TMZ, like, are they just trying to get headlines? But I was just reading through what they said. Harvey Levin said, my spidey senses say there is something about this guy. He's written them before. He's been very persistent. He doesn't claim to be the kidnapper, but says he knows who that person is and where the body is. I mean, what do you make of it?
Well, listen, law enforcement's going to have to try to track down anything they can on this. Like you said, I've took the ransom stuff with a grain of salt from the very beginning, because it was unlike anything we've ever seen before in history and textbooks or what have you. So listen, they have to do this as part of their investigation, but there's always been a couple of investigations, tracks going on here. Your ransom, stranger kidnapping, family members. I mean, all of these things happen just about in every investigation. So, it's just another thing that they'd have to concentrate on and quite frankly, probably waste a lot of time trying to figure out what exactly is happening on that end.
With Savannah Guthrie going back on the Today Show this morning, though, I had always kind of wondered in the back of my mind when she decided to do that, would that have an impact in the investigation? Like, would that spark someone new to come forward? Or if it was like a obsessed Savannah person who did this, would they be sparked to send a new note or something? So the timing is kind of interesting that the same morning she goes back to work after more than 2 months, TMZ suddenly gets a note. I mean, what do you think of that?
Eventually, she had to go back to work, all right? I remember standing at a homicide a long time ago at a scene, and I remember the detective next to me saying, "Hey, Sarge, you know what? Life goes on, right? And things just happen like this." But yes, I think the best thing for her in her own, for her own mental health and overall health is to try to get back to some sort of routine where she goes back to work and does something that she loves to try to keep her mind off of this, because I'm sure she's basically losing her mind in so many aspects about what's going on with the investigation, worried about her mom and her health and everything else that goes along with it. We can only imagine what somebody would go through that kind of trauma.
What do you think about the timing, though, of this note to TMZ on the day that she went back? Do you think that there could be a link there?
I don't think so, but like everything else, if this is somebody who's just been trying to make, trouble, so to speak, then yes, sure, they would do this, take this opportunity because she's back on the news and everything else that goes along with it. But I don't know. I just hope that they figure out who this person is, and if they have real information. There's over $1 million in reward for this. So, come on.
You don't seem that, just as the tone of your voice, you don't seem that convinced with these notes.
No, I didn't. Like I said, I wasn't really a big fan of this ransom stuff from the beginning. And one person they did catch, right, that was trying to scam the people out of this. It would have rewritten textbooks, Brian, on how law enforcement handles ransom notes. They didn't go directly to the family. They go through the media, which is...
You see what I'm saying? They didn't go to the family. They went through the media. It doesn't make sense. Right there. No proof of life.
Something we've never seen before.
Right.
There's just some other, things I just don't like about this, right? The idea is to get the money and be able to give the person back. But that doesn't seem to be part of the equation when this thing first happened.
And there was no proof of life ever from what we know.
Right. And you're not going to send any money over the internet for this. It's not that it's gone forever. I know a lot of people don't think that Bitcoin can't be, traced, but listen, there are a lot of people out there that have the skills to be able to do this. And you know what? The FBI, I'm sure, is working on that as we speak.
You see what I'm saying? It's like FBI can do it. The only way that you get blocked and end up in a brick wall, international laws. And these criminals know that. That's why they do it, because they know I'm protected in my safe haven from this country because of the international laws, and they don't allow the United States or their government to come in and do investigations on this land. They know it. So that's why they moved there to be able to commit these crimes, because of the international laws. It's a thing. That's why.
Yeah, I sort of thought all the ransom notes were just made up. But then when Savannah did that interview with Hoda, she said that she believes that two of the ones that they received could be legit. So then I started to think to myself, well, wait a minute. If she's saying that, that's probably the FBI telling her that. So maybe some of them have been, real.
Well, listen, the FBI is not going to tell the victim's family exactly everything that's going on.
See, just like they're not going to tell the victim's family, they're definitely not telling Harvey Levin from TMZ about evidence that was sent to another source. It's not happening. They ain't even telling the family everything. They're not going to tell Harvey about evidence from somebody else. Not happening.
They might just say, like, this is what we got. We think it's credible. But law enforcement's job is to is to make sure they vet out all that information anyway. They're not going to come out and say this is nonsense and we're not going to even be bothered with it. So, you don't want to give people hope, but you also want to say, listen, we're taking this seriously. We don't know if it's real or not, and we're going to try to track it down and see if we can get you an answer. I mean, I'm sure that was kind of like the conversation that was going on.
Yeah. And so we'll see where these notes go. I mean, again, I just wonder if TMZ thinks it's a good headline every time they get a note, but obviously they're saying that they're forwarding it to the FBI, and we'll just have to see how that plays out. I'm curious, Joe, it's now been more than 2 months. You did so much cold case work, and I don't want to call this a cold case yet, but if you were working this case, you received the file now, like, where do you begin?
It's easy for me, Brian. I would just say I would be creating an international cold case task force, and we would be bringing in every agency that's within 100 miles of where this crime happened. And I'm talking about at least one representative. And of course, we would include the federal partners, including the DEA. Now, people say, well, how do you know? Why would the DEA? Because Mexico is not that far away. And I'm sure the DEA has assets and confidential informants in Mexico that they can help out with this investigation. And one of the things that I would be pushing for is to be debriefing every prisoner that gets arrested within that 100-mile radius, asking them if they know anything about the case, asking recently convicted prisoners as they're sitting in the cell for the first time in the first week, you know what? Maybe they do know something.
Yeah.
Listen,
because the streets talk. The streets talk. The streets talk. The streets talk the truth too. And he's right. The fact that it's a $1.2 million reward, and the fact that nobody, not even a prison snitch, has come out and offered information or claimed to know information, it's shocking. Very shocking.
you have to go to the sources where these guys hang out and these guys know one another, so to speak, and try to get information out of somebody. This is a get out of jail free card. And like I said before, over $1 million and you haven't had a real tip that led you anywhere is really concerning, which means it could be a big part of the dark underworld that we don't know about just yet. And people have been keeping it quiet. But
right. International laws, dark underworld, dark web, international laws. Because these criminals know they can operate and they don't have to worry about the U.S. government being able to investigate further. That's why they're there. And these countries make a shit ton of money off these people. That's why they create these safe havens for these people, because it's about the money.
One thing I found in my career is that somebody who's been sitting in a cell says, you know what, I know something, I got to get out of here, and they can try to make a deal.
It's interesting you say that. One of my cop friends, and he's not even a detective, he's a street cop and he's a younger guy. He was asked, we were chatting about the Nancy Guthrie case, and that's what he said. He said, I bet at some point someone in prison is going to have the tip. And I was like, why do you think that? And he said, I don't know. I just have a hunch. Like at some point it's going to be someone behind bars who gives up some info.
Well, I mean, it's a tactic that we use quite often when we're trying to investigate cold cases, when you're dealing with things with 20, 30 years old. Who else would know about things such as this? And listen, debriefing of prisoners, even at intake, and I don't care if it's for something minor, you never know exactly how many times people have been arrested and, they might be looking at some serious time and they have heard something. I'll take a rumor. I'll take anything. Of course, the police have to go and vet that information, but it's a lead, right? If there comes a point, you have to go and shake the trees and create your own leads. I don't want to see police departments sit back and say, well, we have DNA possibly, right? Well, no, you have nothing until you get it back. That's the first thing. And even if you get it back, you don't know if it's going to be usable, if they were able to extract the mixtures, all those things that go, right? Get off your butts, go out there and start shaking your own trees. Make something happen. And listen.
Yeah, do a grid ground search. It's been over 2 months and still no grid ground search. She can literally be laying in bushes right by the house. Come on, get off your asses.
Law enforcement has the capability of doing this, but having all of those other departments doing the same thing you're doing, you shake enough trees, it could be something falling out of it.
Yeah,
you mentioned Mexico.
You do enough grid ground searching a mile from the house radius, and you could find something too. Freaking ridiculous.
I've always wondered why it seems like they've downplayed Mexico. Like in the beginning, they made a point to say, well, we have no evidence to believe this has anything to do with Mexico. The Mexican government said the same thing. But it's so close. I mean, I drove there from Nancy's house. It takes like an hour and a half, maybe even less time if there's no traffic. Like, I just have a hard time just saying it has nothing to do with Mexico. I don't know. It seems like we should keep that possibility open.
You always keep it open. But I also remember, whatever the law enforcement agencies say too, you never take them for full value. They say
I didn't think, for a very small period of time, I thought maybe Mexico. Then when the video of the porch guy came out, I wasn't thinking Mexico anymore. Then recently, for a long time, I wasn't thinking Mexico really had anything to do with it. And then about a week ago, I started to really go, maybe it does have something to do with it now. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think the person or people that did this crime are residing in Mexico? Do you think they're from Arizona? I don't know what other place to ask you where they're from. I mean, somewhere in the United States? I don't know. Canada? Where do you think they're from? I'm thinking Mexico. Rosie brought up a really good point a few shows ago about the whole cartel and how it works. It's too convenient to not be considered. Yeah, you're exactly right. Like, in the beginning, I'm like 6 million, you don't know what to think, you don't know what to think. Then after the porch guy video comes out, I'm like, man, this is sloppy as hell. Ain't no cartel network coming up looking like this. Then, you start to think of a guinea pig and Expendable and how you can get rid of them. And they're the ones that are putting their DNA in the house if anything gets left behind, not the masterminds. They're just going to get rid of him just like they're going to get rid of her. But Rosie brought up some really good points about it just being like an initiation for a cartel. Like, it wasn't meant to be this perfect crime. It just ended up that way because of a botched investigation. But the fact that she was like, because cartels operate completely different. They don't show up like that and end up being on camera. They don't show up like that. Like, the person that showed up didn't even have enough common sense to walk backwards so their face wasn't all up on the camera, right? They could have literally walked backwards, walked up to the camera so they weren't in the view, and then ripped it off the frame. They didn't even have to have their face. They nonchalantly walked over and got some flowers and tried to cover up the camera. Like, that's not how they operate. So I'm like, there's no way in hell the cartel had anything to do with this, because their shit is effective, right? It's like it's brutal. It's not what happened. They're not going to show up like that. You probably wouldn't even see them on the camera. You know what I'm saying? They'd figure out a way to not show up on the camera and the camera get ripped off the frame. But when Rosie brought up, it could have easily just been a cartel initiation. They didn't expect it to go down like a professional. This was just like an initiation. And then I sat back and I'm like, damn, that is a really good point. That is a really good point. Savannah should state the specific details, color, print, etc. of Nance. I don't think Savannah even knows. I don't even do Annie and Tommaso know. I don't think she would have been wearing her pajamas. You know what I'm saying? I think she would have wore her pajamas after she got home. So I don't know if anybody really truly knows, what the description of the clothing is. I would hope they would have, gave that information if they had it. But unfortunately, I don't think anybody knew what she was exactly wearing when she went missing, because I think I don't know, I think they would have probably put that out there, but who knows? I don't know. Who knows? I can only assume that nobody knew. And it makes sense too, because, she was probably dressed up in certain attire when she came over, and When she got home and got in bed, we don't know for sure. We think that maybe she was wearing this pajama outfit, but, we don't know for sure. Maybe that's why they didn't come out with some kind of description, because it wasn't 100% for sure that was the last thing that they were wearing. So, yeah, not sure. Yeah, Jay Gallagher, Rosie brought up a great point. I was like, damn, I never even thought about it just being like an initiation for a cartel. Makes sense. Like it was, because from the beginning, I was like, why would you, I don't even know who Savannah Guthrie is, let alone Nancy. This is in the very beginning. And I'm like, why would you abduct the mother of a Today Show host that I don't even know who the hell that is, right? So to me, it was almost like I was saying from the beginning, this is it seems like it's practice for something bigger. Like they want to see the response from social media, from law enforcement. They want to see, like, what can we do for the bigger target? We already did our trial on the smaller fish. Now we're going to go after a bigger fish and know what to do and not to do to get away with it, right? So it kind of goes along with that, because with what she brought up about the initiation, it was almost like a practice. That's why it was an initiation. It was almost like a practice for a bigger target. So when she brought that up, I'm like, well, damn, I kind of thought it was that kind of same situation, but now you mix the cartel aspect of it, which I kind of, it was a possibility the whole time, but I didn't put too much into it. But after she mentioned it, then I was like, oh, hey, wait a minute. Now that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, she had a really good point. A theory I heard was that the criminal used the plants to rip off the camera to get a grip because the gloves were too slippery. Actually, those rubber gloves, if anybody's used those before, they're not slippery at all. In fact, they have a lot of grip to them. With those type of latex gloves, they're very thick. And they were wearing at least a few pairs. That was obvious because you could see all the different folds that were on the finger. Or on the hands, I should say. But in actuality, those gloves would have a decent amount of grip on them. They really would. The only time that they would become slippery is if there's some kind of oily substance on them. If there's some kind of oily substance or soapy substance, then yes, they would become slippery. But if it's just regular water, or if they're dry, they actually have a pretty decent amount of grip to those. So I don't know if I would put too much into that, because you got to think, the flowers, if you were using the flowers to then place it on the camera to then have some grip, when you're squeezing the flowers, what's in those flowers? Flower juices. So if the flower juices are getting squeezed out because they're being used to create grip, then you're talking about slippery gloves by using the flowers, when if you wouldn't have used the flowers, it would have been easier to rip the camera off. Who knows? Who knows for sure? But when it comes to the using the flowers, no. What I think they used the flowers for was because they needed to cover the camera while they ripped it off. And if you are grabbing the camera and the flowers are in between your hands, so the flowers are right here, you're gripping the camera with your fingers, that would cover your face, or try to cover your face while you're grabbing it and trying to rip the camera off. That's why I think that they use the flowers, not to create grip, because in fact, it would create less grip if the flowers were used. Maybe they could verify that by the clothes that Amy and Toss. I mean, and thank you for hopping in, Mrs. Morrison. I mean, that would be the only last description of clothing that they could go off of. But I think everybody probably knew that she changed into pajamas based off of what was left behind. And she probably had her outfit from that evening laying down on a chair or something as she changed into her pajamas. But the fact that they didn't have any footage of her leaving, and they couldn't definitively say exactly what outfit she had on. Therefore, they can't say you need to look for Nancy wearing blue jeans or a gown or whatever, because they don't know for sure, So I can see why they haven't put out a description for clothing with Nancy, because honestly, you don't want to put a description of clothing out that you don't know is for sure, because then what if she was wearing something else than what you put out? People are, you know what I mean? Not that they're not going to report somebody that they see laying somewhere, but it's the specific clothing, that it would actually hurt you trying to get a tip instead of helping at all. And so they're not going to come out with any kind of description. Savannah stated in one of her interviews that Nancy was shoeless and in her pajamas. Yes, on that first time that she came out and spoke last week, she did say that. I guess maybe because Annie knew what clothes she had on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't think she'd be wearing her pajamas that afternoon or that evening. You know what I'm saying? She'd be wearing some regular clothes. When she would come home, that's when she would probably get into a gown or something and go to bed. And the thing is none of them have seen her in a gown in the longest time. You know what I'm saying? I doubt anybody has seen her in a gown for the longest time. And so nobody could really say for sure exactly what the clothing was, so it makes sense. Bitcoin can be used on the dark to pay people to commit these crimes. Yeah, you're exactly right. They even have, it's wild on the dark web. I don't suggest anybody to go there. I really don't. Because it's like a spirit of a demon. You don't want to open up your door and invite that shit in, because I just wouldn't if I were you. If anybody is interested in doing that, I wouldn't. Not even go venture just to look. It can get very dangerous. And yes, that kind of activity, worse activity than that, takes place on the dark web. And that, you're exactly right. It's used to pay people to commit these crimes on there. Who knows? It could be one of these dark web kind of things. Maybe somebody got mad. Like Savannah says, she feels like she was a target. Maybe somebody got mad, and it's a very sick, twisted existence over there, man. It is wild over there, and in your wildest dreams or possibilities of the kind of crap that takes place over there, go beyond that, because that's the kind of stuff, it's beyond what you can even imagine that takes place over there, especially with sick, twisted stuff. If you're enjoying the live stream, help us reach more people. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, comment, and share this out to your socials and friends. And we definitely appreciate you being here. If you didn't get to check out Rosie's part 2 deep dive on Megan Kelly's Nancy Guthrie investigation, she did that this morning. Definitely check out. And if you haven't seen part 1 that she did a couple days ago, definitely check that one out too. She'll be doing part 3 here soon. All right, we're going to get back to some more of this interview, talking about this ransom note and how it just doesn't seem legit. Brings up great points. Do me a favor, I have a poll open too. Make sure you vote. Do you think any of these ransom notes are real? That could be why they still insist on Bitcoin as a ransom. I think the only reason, you know what I'm saying, Jay Gallagher? I think it's the only reason. By the way, have you been able to over there at Pool Blitz? If you want to hang out and join us sometime, you can join us at my other channel, EvilleCJ TV. That's where I do some gaming and chilling back. We've been playing a lot of Pool Blitz. It's a free game that you can play on your phone, PC, tablet, Xbox, PlayStation. You can play for free, and you can shoot pool with me or amongst anybody else in the community. And you can come join us sometime. I'll probably be going over there for a little bit tonight, playing a couple games. Hopefully that new Q stick, Jay Gallagher, I'm sure you got it already. Hopefully it's helping out. And who knows, maybe I'll see you over there tonight for a little bit after this show is over. All right, we're going to go ahead and get to some more of this interview. And also, I'm going to have some QR codes up there. If you have Cash App, you can scan that with your phone now. It'll take you to the Cash App if you want a Cash App. We also have PayPal. If you'd like to PayPal, that'll take you to PayPal. You just hold your phone up with your camera, and then it'll just come up with that little yellow thing, and you hit that button, and it'll take you right to it. And also, we do have Venmo, so if you'd like to support directly, you can click on any of those, or you can click on the description, and it will pop up for you. Yes, I have some new tricks. Uh-oh. You're going to end up beating me every match. Now, watch out, anybody. If anybody... Pool Blitz, BLITZ, free game. It's a great game. And watch out for Jay Gallagher, because she is very good at that game.
Everything and nothing all in the same sentence, right? Oh, everybody's cleared. Nobody's cleared until the case is over. I mean, it's as simple as that. First of all, you want to keep people calm. You want to keep people, in a situation where if they might make a mistake. So we never want to label anything as, this person, that person, or anything else. But yes, you have to keep the Mexico angle open. Not even saying that drug cartels are involved. It's just an easy escape over the border kind of thing, which in this case might even help even more in respect that it's an automatic federal takeover at that point, as soon as you have that international line cross or a state line cross. And quite frankly, something I was hoping for, where the feds would be able to just step in and say, okay, our turn. The feds are always lurking in these cases. I mean, I've worked with the feds, and it's not like television where you're always fighting. It's actually really a symbiotic relationship, and I've always had some good relationships with those guys and girls. But you know what? We hear differently. We don't know for sure what's happened in Pima, but if that's the case, it would be an absolute shame if that occurred.
Yeah, so what I heard from sources is initially that there was an issue between the FBI and the local sheriff's office, that the sheriff's office...
Yeah, we heard about that issue. What happened? What happened, Caddy? You downloaded and deleted that game numerous times? Uh-oh. What happened? Yeah, we gotta see you on that pool game sometime. It's so much fun, too. It's so relaxing. We listen to live music, Spotify, and whoever plays me in a match gets to request a song, so you get to listen to your favorite song while we're shooting pool. What happened? What happened?
Sharing everything.
I got
you. The sheriff has this long-standing beef with the FBI, and there were issues in the beginning, but now they have this task force, and apparently it's pretty seamless now. They're getting along. It's less about the sheriff and more just like the detectives and the FBI agents working together, and they've sort of straightened all of that out from what I'm hearing.
Well, let's hope so, right? I mean, but even then, you've lost valuable time in those weeks where you're trying to iron this out. And did it get ironed out because it finally became public and became part of the discourse of what was going on in the investigation? Because if that's the case, okay, great, you fixed it, but it's still like you got to shake your head and say, well, what were you thinking? I mean, there's so many things that I look at this case and I just scratch my head, and I always make the joke that I said, if I had hair, I'd pull it out, because things such as not even holding the crime scene. I mean, there was no reason to let that crime scene go. I'll tell you right now, if that case happened in New York City, not only we would have kept the house, we would have cordoned off that entire piece of property, and we would have parked one of those big old temporary headquarters vehicle right on the front lawn. And I mean, we're talking, I haven't seen a line or a grid search or a zone search. I haven't seen any of that. I mean, you have people walking around like, on an Easter egg hunt. That's not the way you do these things. David dogs, why aren't we bringing them in? Why have they never brought back bloodhounds? You know, they said that they did it in the beginning. They said canines. They didn't specify the kind of dogs that they brought in. I don't know for sure. I'm sure you know if you heard the type of dogs. But at this point, bring back bloodhounds. Let them sniff the clothing, you know, the pajamas, whatever was left over,
search.
and see if we can get a trail, anything. But I mean, now
Good
we're
ground
talking months
search.
into this, and I just say this is like basic investigation stuff. And why wasn't it done? I don't think we'll ever get the answer for.
I still don't understand why they cleared the crime scene that first time, because the family wasn't itching to get back into the house. I don't know what the urgency was in doing that. There didn't seem to be any pressure from the outside. Like I couldn't figure it out.
From all we know, that there was nobody else that even had an expectation of privacy for that house, meaning the only person that had access to the house or the privacy was Nancy herself, which means we wouldn't even, we meaning law enforcement, not me personally, wouldn't need even a search warrant at that point. So, I mean, to say that you would just do this and then leave and then let everybody kind of walk all over the place, it's kind of like, I question that. Say that entire place should have been done. Because remember, we saw a guy come into the, I think it was the septic tank, right? And kind of like poking in a few days. You found the blood, you know, on the doorstep, right? I mean, the gloves. Talk about another nightmare scenario, right? Having 16 pairs of rubber gloves that they were left at the scene
Right.
by searchers, and then another pair of rubber gloves from
Disaster.
2 miles away. I mean,
Disaster.
it's like, what are we doing here, folks? I mean,
Yeah.
this is not the stuff that we train. And there are no national standards per se on how to run a crime scene, but there is plenty of literature on this.
Yeah, it's called common sense on how to process a crime scene, especially if that's your damn job. Right? The McDonald's worker's supposed to put the pickles on the top, not the bottom. You get trained on that shit. They have pictures above where you make it. If you can't remember to put the pickles on the top, what are you doing?
National Institute of Justice has
What are
guides
we
out
doing?
on this stuff. There have been plenty of textbooks written on this. So to me, it's unacceptable in 2026.
When I think you saw my story, we had a source close to the investigation in Silhouette talking, and I think you tweeted about it, where he was saying that the supervisor had never investigated a homicide, which I think I remember seeing your tweet. Like, that didn't seem to bother. Weren't you trying to say,
No.
well, that part didn't bother you that much?
Right. It doesn't bother me that because the supervisor's there to make sure that the detectives
All
have
right.
what they need in order to investigate.
All right, let me make a good point on this, because we on our last show that me and Rosie did together a couple nights ago, we brought this up, and I was like, well, it's not really that big of a deal that, it was the first time that he was leading an investigation. I don't know, it's not that big of a deal. It was a big deal to Rosie. It was a big deal to Rosie. I was like, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. Now, what he did with the crime scene, I mean, hello, you had blood on the front sidewalk. It could be your first crime scene, but when you show up and there's blood on the front sidewalk and it's not foul play, well, okay, now I see the mistake. But initially, I don't know, some people got to start somewhere, right? And just like this guy said, it's not that big of a deal. So I don't know. I'll have to ask Rosie when she joins tomorrow night if it's still a big deal to her or not, now that we heard from this law enforcement officer. Not so much. She's doing stuff on EvilleCJ Media here. If you go to the live streams sections, I don't have the link for it, but if you go to the live, actually here, hold on, let me grab it real quick. This is her, so this link right here is her part 1 breakdown. So here's the link for her part 1. And then here is the link for her part 2 that she did this morning. So here's that link right there. So if you just click on both of those links, get them in your history feed, and then after you're done with the show here tonight, then you can go back to your history feed and then just click on part 1 and you can save it to a playlist. Click on part 2, save it to a playlist. Definitely check them both out. She'll be doing part 3 here soon. Not exactly sure when she's doing the next one. It shouldn't have been a big deal if he had any qualifications for I know, Jay Gallagher. That's kind of what I wasn't harping on it too much, you know. I wasn't harping on it too much. Rosie, I don't know. We'll have to find out what Rosie has to say about this. Rosie is awesome. Yes, we love her. I did sub her channel. Thank you. Thank you for the sub over there to Rosie. By the way, if you're not subbed to our special guest co-host, definitely go sub over to her. There's the link to her channel. Thank you so much. Definitely go show her some love on that video from earlier. She's doing a great job. Part 1 and part 2.
The case. So when I was a sergeant in the detective squad, I remember the lieutenant telling me when I was brand new sergeant in the squad, I remember the lieutenant says, give the detectives enough space. Your job is to make sure that they have the equipment and the necessary means to do their job, and just let detectives do their work. So
There you go.
that's what I said. That doesn't matter, right?
Right. It doesn't matter. You just need to be able to manage the investigation. Oh, there's blood on the front sidewalk. All right, guys, we need to close this down. There's obviously some foul play going on because this blood stain is not normal. You manage, you know. It's like I was talking to a manager of a department somewhere, and I was talking to them, and I was like, you know, management, they were asking me for some advice. I was in management for over 20 years in my career. And I was like, honestly, you know, it's more of you have to manage personalities. That's what the job of management is mostly. It's yes, you have to manage and delegate the work, but really the hardest part of management is being able to manage all the different personalities, because you need to find out what each person needs in order to succeed, what each person don't need, because you'll know that will help them fail. So you want to you're constantly, and each person's different. And so what one thing that works for this person to motivate or not motivate could be completely different than this other person that's standing right next to him. And you could have another 200 people, and you have to figure out how to manage personalities. That's what the big part of the job is. And so when we're talking about this crime scene, yes, you obviously have to know what you're doing because you're there to do whatever it is you're there to do. But the person that is managing it all is supposed to make sure that, number one, everything is working properly and smoothly, and that goes with managing the different personalities. You know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and that's your job to make sure that everybody stays in a collective, cohesive unit and works together like a well-oiled machine. And so when it comes to the experience, I'm not really that worried. But if you don't know how to manage those things that you're supposed to manage, well, then that's the problem. And unfortunately, the person that was the lead in that investigation obviously didn't have any common sense, because if you had common sense, then you would have seen blood on the front sidewalk and went, oh, there's foul play. Now, I don't think anybody's bringing this up, and I think maybe this could have been manipulated by Sheriff Nanos, right? Like maybe, because let's be honest, you have somebody that's going to investigate a crime scene and they don't even shut it down when there's blood on the front sidewalk, right? It doesn't make sense to you, does it? It doesn't make sense at all to me, but you know what does make sense? It does make sense for this person to contact Sheriff Nanos and say, Sheriff Nanos, I think we're looking at foul play. I think we're looking at abduction. And then Sheriff Nanos says, we don't need the media attention. Just investigate it as a walk-off. That's how I can see the lead investigator going back to his team going, hey, we're just going to close it down like she wandered off. That's how I can see that. Sheriff Nanos, we don't need this kind of media attention. We don't need it. Just downplay it and let's just let it wash over, get through the cycle system. We're moving on. I can see that happening for sure. That dude is so corrupt and snaky. I can see him telling, remember, because we already heard he has people in these lead positions because they go along to get along. Not that they're qualified, it's because they do what he wants them to do, and that's why they're in those positions. So to me, it makes absolute sense that Sheriff Nanos would say, hey, we don't need that media attention. Downplay it, look at it as a wander, so we can get this thing out of our hair, because we don't need this kind of attention. I can definitely see that happening.
The idea behind the supervisor in this
What's
is
up,
going
Rosie?
to be the manager, be the mentor.
Hopefully you're feeling better. Appreciate you very much, and thank you for all your hard work and your efforts on these episodes over here. And we love having you as our special guest co-host.
The trainer to be able to go in there and say, okay, guys, have you thought of this? No? Okay, why don't we give that a shot? I mean, that's really what the supervisor's job should be. But we're hearing all kinds of stuff about what's going on, like benching your homicide detectives or the people who had the skill sets already. But you know what, Brian? I don't know if you've asked this question, like, why didn't they ask for a mutual aid from Tucson or Phoenix, right? And initially, I'd be calling Phoenix and Tucson and say, hey, I need 5 homicide detectives or 5 detectives with experience. I need them there within 48 hours. We're going to pay the bill, but, send them down here. We need everybody at bear on this, because it's been proven. The more detectives on an initial case, the faster you'll get it solved. It's as simple as that. And having all these people involved and all this experience to do so is something that needed to be brought bare to the initial stages of this investigation.
Yeah, and beyond the supervisor, we're hearing that the detectives also had less than 2 years experience, because the experienced detectives were moved out of homicide because of a beef with the sheriff and all this drama with the election, and it gets very political.
Oh yeah.
And I realized that, like, pretty much right when I got there and started talking to people, there's just these beefs with the sheriff that have been ongoing for a long time and seem to have bled into this investigation.
And the silence is sort of deafening too, in regards to like what people know from the outside, if they were even asked, or what they even feel about the situation. But yes, listen, detectives who never caught a homicide or an investigation like this, the only way they're going to learn is until they do so. The idea is having that experience to help them move them along, right? Let them do the case. We saw something very similar happen in Moscow. If you remember, right, the detective there, he never really did the homicide. And they made an arrest in that case too. So if you've investigated cases before, we train our detectives in New York City to solve homicides, because you will then use all those tools to solve your lesser crimes. So we prepared our detectives to solve the ultimate crime against society, so that anything less than that, they already had the tools necessary, which would bring in another conversation. What is their training like? Who does the training? How often is the training? And was anybody trained? Those are the next questions that would come up. I mean, I would like to see if they have a detective guide or a procedure about how to handle a crime scene, even from the uniformed cops, the first cops on the scene. Listen, they often make or break cases. Did they hold the scene? Did they see any witnesses? Did they detain anybody? Did they notice something out of place? Those are all real important steps when you're dealing with a case like this.
Yeah, and I was in Idaho for the Moscow murders too. And I think the difference there was the police weren't saying anything, and we didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, but we just didn't know. I mean, we didn't know if they were busy, if they had a lot, if they didn't have a lot. With this situation, though, in Arizona with Nancy Guthrie, like we actually have sources telling us that they have nothing, that they have no suspect, that they don't have any good leads right now, that they're basically just, I mean, like the latest I've heard is that they're going to all the construction sites in the neighborhood and trying to get a full list of everybody who's worked these construction jobs just to go down that list and try to rule those people out. And apparently they're having a hard time because some of the crews are nervous to give up names. And, like some people are in the country illegally. There's, issues there with all of that. But I mean, they're, not to say that they're desperate, but they're, kind of like you said, shaking the trees. Like it seems like they're really shaking the trees. Where when I was in Idaho, they actually had like really legitimate stuff going on behind the scenes. They were closing in on Brian Kohberger. They just weren't telling us that. Whereas they're not closing in on anyone from what we know in Arizona.
Right. And
Yeah, they
I
have
kind of
no
agree with
idea.
that, so to speak,
No clue.
because you see these have over $1 million worth of rewards, and we haven't seen anything that resembles anything of reports, except for, remember in the initial stages, and you were part of one of those where they had somebody in custody, and they made the cardinal rule of saying we have somebody in custody, right? You don't do that until after you vet.
Yeah, after you vet it. And you know what? It's weird because I've always, even ever since those they weren't arrests, they were detainments. Ever since those detainments, I've always wondered how legit those were, because if you remember, they detained both of those individuals real quick, went through all their electronics, all their family members' electronics, all the items in their houses, and then they ended up just getting released and they had nothing to do with it. So it makes me wonder, like, how in the hell did they even get warrants to even do that? How did they even get warrants? We were listening to the live scanner the one night when they busted Luke. Same eyebrows, same eyes, matched the description. They were going off of eyes and eyebrows. And that, if you can get a warrant off of eyes and eyebrows, that's wild. So I've always wondered about those detainments, those two, because it's like, okay, I thought something, usually there's something that goes back to why you were able to, search everything. I guess, I don't know, maybe they just said, can we? And they just gave it. I don't know. It's just weird. I've always wondered those two detainments and the legitimacy of those, because that's pretty scary, man. If your eyes and eyebrows match the description, and you can literally get yanked out, and your whole family has every single device searched. That's wild.
That out the information
Scary.
and who this person is, because it looks bad. I just wish that the sheriff and I've seen this a number of times recently, would have just used a public information officer at the very beginning stages of this. When you have a major case like this, I want to see my police executive at the scene. I want him or her directing what should be going on, what assets they need, if they need cell phones or batteries or even just food to keep them at the scene going. That's what I want my executives to be doing, not sitting in front of the press conference. That's why you have a PIO, because as you know, Brian, these cases are dynamic and they change in the matter of minutes. And when you the executive say something, everyone expects that to be the truth, even though you're not lying, but you gave out bad information. Who can walk back the executive? There's nobody above you. That's why you have the PIO. And then the next person who's higher than them can step in and say, okay, we know we said this, but that was the initial thing. Now the investigation has shifted. This is what we found. We will keep you posted. And that's it. And instead it turned into the mess that it has been.
That's such a good point. The sheriff could have almost protected himself and his reputation. You use a PIO and then it's kind of like, oh, we had bad information. It's more on them versus now you got the top guy making mistakes, saying things different ways. And then it like it is now, it's like, who can we trust?
Right. And now every time he says something or every time he did something, nobody believes him. And that's part of the problem. But that's why we have PIOs. Listen, this whole incident management system technique has been in place since September 11th, where we have an incident commander and we have different sections. And one of those sections is public information. And that person is generally the public information officer. And
Right, the one who handles the press conferences and everything. And it's like if you have diarrhea of the mouth, then those public information officers come in very, very handy. I wonder if Nanos is going to use the public information officer to fill out that questionnaire that he got from that hearing. That'll be interesting. Hey, I don't want to have you help me out with any of these interviews or press conferences or releasing any updated information, but can you answer this questionnaire for me?
I can't remember the case offhand. Well, it was a much smaller department, and it was a major case, and they actually got a PIO from a major city that wasn't too far away. And he stepped in, the sergeant stepped in and controlled the entire narrative, and everything worked out well. We spend the time and effort to train our PIOs to deal with the media, to be able to speak in front of the media and do all those things. As you know, it's not easy. So if we have somebody that's trained for somebody who, in this case, a police executive who really doesn't have that kind of training, who might think that they have that training, stand up there and say things that end up not being true, I think it turned off a lot of people. And of course, we see now a lot of negative attention directed his way. And
Right, because if you're not organized at work, then how are you organized at home? Vice versa. If you're not organized at home, how are you organized at work? So if you don't have your shit organized at work, I'd hate to see what home looks like. My God. Can you imagine what Nanos' home looks like? Shit's all over the place. He can't remember where he put it. He's getting mad because he thought he put something somewhere yesterday, but then yeah. It'd be like a hoarder's house, and then he'd be like, hey, can I borrow this pan? Oh, man, hold on, let me look for it. And then you got to go through 3 rooms, and you're waiting an hour and a half just for him to try and find it. And then he comes out and says, I don't remember where I put it. That's what his house has got to look like, because that's how he does his job.
unfortunately, is rightly so.
Well, you brought up Idaho earlier, and they did something like that. They brought in the Idaho State Police public information officer to handle things for them in Moscow, even though it was a city of Moscow. They had someone from the outside come in and just handle all the media requests. And the chief maybe did like 1 or 2 interviews total. I mean, and it was very rare. And he let that.
No, he did more than that. He did like 6 of them. He did 3 press conferences and 3 or 4 interviews on local media. Not 2. I don't know where in the hell he was at. He was there. I seen him. How does he not remember?
PIO handle everything.
And that's the way it should be done, right? So we have the model, we have the training, right? FEMA runs the.
Who's the PIO that Idaho had? Because it was always Lanier and Chief Fry. I don't remember. Does anybody that has gone into the Idaho 4 case? Do you it was just Lanier and Chief Fry. Because Dollinger wasn't even speaking, and he ended up becoming. Who was the public information officer for? I don't remember. I can't think of any. Chief Fry, Lanier. Chief Fry always started off the press conferences. Then he did local news interviews. Lanier did local news interviews. Lanier and Bill Thompson. Bill Thompson led some press conferences too. No, he didn't. No, he just was involved in one at the very end when Koberger was arrested. I do not remember. He might be confusing it with another case because he did just say that Fry only did 2 interviews. And he did way more than that. That dude did the most. He did the most. I don't know. We'll have to look it up and see. I do not remember a public information officer. Unless they're talking about the Dateline leak. And he was the one that dealt with the public, the university, the Idaho State Police. He was the one that kind of was the runaround between all the different departments and with the public and with the families too. I don't remember a public information officer. We'll have to look that up.
This, we know exactly what we want them
I think
to
he's
do and
confused.
say and be able to handle something during a big major case so that we don't run into these kind of problems. But we saw this up in the Brown University incident. We saw this with the shooting at Charlie Kirk. People coming out who shouldn't be saying things in the media, and it just doesn't foretell well about what's exactly the investigation is going to reveal. Plus, you bring in chances for the defense attorney to be able.
Anthony Dollinger. Okay, I mean, I don't remember him ever coming out and saying anything. He did end up becoming the new chief. He did end up becoming the new chief. And I don't even remember seeing him at any of the press conferences either. That's interesting. Says it was Anthony Dollinger.
To do things, because remember, the defense attorney, if he's going to say, well, my client wasn't the guy because we're excluding all others. You had all these other people under arrest. What happened to them? Why weren't they the ones? I'm sure, you're just opening yourself up to this kind of stuff. And it's just, you have to prepare from the very minute this case starts that you're going to trial, and you dot your I's and cross your T's, and that's the way it should be handled.
I know
really
there's
wasn't.
still a lot of holes, but I haven't talked to you about this case yet, so I'm just curious. Do you have a theory? I mean, do you have a working theory based on the information that we do have of what happened here, what the motive might have been?
Well, there's a lot of things that a lot of people have speculated on a lot of things. But one thing that I can think of is that I don't believe she was a targeted attack. I think there was going to be a planned burglary and that this thing went bad. Why do I say it's not a targeted attack? Well, listen, look how they like the guy dealt with the camera, right? I mean, putting flowers on it, whatever. He wasn't really in a big rush. He wasn't really too concerned about this.
Right.
And I had said from the very beginning that this guy was an amateur. And the reason why I said that is because
I said it too. I said that as soon as I seen it, I said, this is not professional. This is less than rookie. If all you had to do on the first page of the test was fill out your name, he wouldn't have even filled it out right. That's how less than rookie level this guy was showing up. He didn't even have enough common sense to walk backwards to the camera.
he did not look prepared.
No.
Now, the people will throw that back at me and say, well, Joe, he's not an amateur, but we're 2 months into this. Well, listen, these guys make mistakes. It's up to law enforcement to be able to figure out what those mistakes are.
Right. They made mistakes in a botched investigation that was contaminated from moment one, that was not locked down and processed properly, opened up, shut down, open up, shut down, open up, shut down, key evidence not taken, not tested. That's why it seems like the perfect crime, because the investigation was botched. That's why, oh, there's gloves over here 2 miles away. Oh, there's this over here. Oh, distractions. So you're not looking at the botched investigation and going, hey, how come you guys didn't do this? We're too busy talking about a glove that was found 2 miles away that had absolutely nothing to do with it, and we knew it. Everybody else acted like it had something to do with it. Don't look at my botched investigation. Look at that new lead over there, you guys. That's exactly what was happening.
Oh, but, you know, listen, most burglaries happen directly through the front door. So that was his first intention. You know, does it happen through the back door? Apparently that's where things go. But you have an 84-year-old immobile person who has a heart monitor and all the other things that go along with it. Bad choice if she was a targeted attack, because the likelihood of something going wrong with her is extremely high. And now you're looking at murder charges.
Yeah.
So
But if it's just a burglary gone wrong, though, why would he have been there previously? Remember, like, we think he was there January 11th, which would have been 3 weeks before. Would he have been planning it
staking
that
out the,
long?
Yes, staking out the joint, right? He's actually doing his homework. He's looking at things. Maybe he's knowing that her routine is like she goes over to her, she leaves every Sunday to go.
That's what I'm saying. It's very like on a typical Thursday, there's so many different possibilities that can happen. But on a Sunday, everything is usually routine on a Sunday. So if she's routinely leaving on Sunday evenings and being gone for a few hours and coming back around the same particular time, and it's a Sunday evening, most people are going to be in bed. It's a very key opportune time.
To wherever. So
Sundays
was
are
that
very
day a Sunday?
routine
I mean,
for most.
was it on a weekend? So was he doing his homework, so to speak? That's just the way I would be looking as the working theory. And I had said before we started, once the ransom notes started kicking in, you have another level of investigation that has to be done there. So you have to be able to pivot. So you have, like I said, 3 investigations happening: ransom, stranger abduction, and always friends and family are always included in these investigations. I don't care what anybody says. Most people are victimized by someone they know, and that's a direction that cases often go through. That doesn't mean it's true, but you as the investigator have to exclude all others. That's the goal. So if I can exclude the family, great, move on to the next one. Let's go through this. But that's why I'm pushing this debriefing of prisoner stuff, because this isn't the first time I don't think this guy would do a burglary or do something like this. Show that photo to your prisoners. Show the video, because he had a little bit of a funky walk, right? He had that knapsack on that might have been a little too heavy. Looked like he almost would lose his balance. Maybe somebody identifies the gait, right? I mean, anything. You're never going to know until you try, and that's the bottom line here.
That's why they're looking at all these construction workers in areas, because literally they just got to try. Not that it's some big new lead that these people are manipulating shit just to get people to watch. It's gross. There's not some huge new lead. There hasn't been any leads. People will just lie about shit just to get you to go, oh, I need to click on this. They have to look at everything because they don't have anything. Like he says, they're dusting up trees.
One of my friends and retired FBI agent Maureen O'Connell, who I have on a lot, you mentioned the gate and looked kind of funky. She thinks he was high. Like, she's just convinced that the guy was like on drugs.
He might be. I mean, listen,
Could have been.
you have an elderly person.
Could have been.
But probably information out there is who she actually was. So, guys like this who may be using drugs or whatever think there's drugs.
Right. We know that she was immobile. You're going to tell me that she wasn't using pain pills? She could, on a good day, could make it to the mailbox. You don't think she wasn't using pain pills? You don't think somebody might rob an old lady, especially at the beginning of the month, the end of the month, when they're going to have that new script? They might have extras. Who knows how many? I could definitely see somebody just robbing old people's houses, trying to rob drugs from them. Wouldn't be surprised.
In the house, there's cash money, right? Because elderly people senior citizens tend to have cash in the house, right? So,
Safe.
I mean, it becomes a target-rich environment as far as I'm concerned. Listen, I don't have any background on this information. That would just be our working theory.
Oh my God.
And listen, this happens in every investigation. The detectives get together, you sit there and you talk, all right, what do we think of the scenarios? And then you lay out all the scenarios and then you see what evidence leads you to that. One of the things, maybe you have the answer to this one, Brian, I've been asking all along and no one's ever given me an answer. Was there a router in the house? Did they take the router? So why is that important? Well, if you have friends and family and acquaintances and the pool guy and all the other stuff, they connect to the Wi-Fi. And that Wi-Fi that router becomes a real record of who was there. And even if you don't have access to it, right? You happens to you go somewhere and it says, hey, there's a Wi-Fi here. It connects onto your MAC address or whatever it is on your phone or your watch. And people are going to turn around and say, well, he made her take off the wristwatch, the Apple Watch and the phone. Yes, because the word is out there that these
Who says they made her take it? Maybe she took it off when she went to bed. Look, when you I'm not when you look at her arms, you think that she's going to lay in bed with a watch that can cut off her circulation on her wrist? Just from laying on a pillow? No. I can see her taking her watch off. No problem. Rosie, yes, this is just from Google. Dollinger served as the primary PIO and communications lead for the MPD during the 2022-2023 University of Idaho investigation. Yeah, I think Brian Enton's confused, though, because he was saying Fry only did 2 interviews and then the PIO did the rest of them. And that's why I was sitting there going, wait a minute. I don't remember a PIO doing any kind of interviews. All I remember doing interviews is Chief Fry and Lanier. So I think Brian Enton is a little, maybe he's just confused with another one, because Fry definitely did more than 2. He did more like 6 or 7. And Lanier did the other ones. And maybe Dollinger did 1, if he even did 1. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. He's got to be... I don't know. I don't remember seeing Dollinger that much, if at all, during those press conferences or interviews before they arrested Kohberger. After Kohberger was arrested, of course, there's been a bunch from Dollinger. But before Kohberger was arrested, I just saw Fry, and because he was talking about when they were actually investigating it, not after they arrested him. So who knows? But thank you, Rosie. Appreciate that.
Things can be easily traced and trackable. So they bad guys know to get rid of these things now. It's unfortunate, but it's just a sign of the times.
You think we'll get a resolution soon?
No. If you would ask me this question in the first week or 2, I would say yes, because I was really hopeful when I saw the FBI coming in here and doing this, because it is it's not a mini department. People think like this is like some mom and pop sheriff's department. They have like 500 deputies in this department. And as far as the 18,000 agencies goes, it's huge, because most departments have fewer than 20 sworn cops. So this is a big department, but the FBI brings so many assets to bear. And quite frankly, I wouldn't have mind seeing even the Secret Service coming in because of their cell phone data and technology and all the other things. Like I said, the DEA because of the drug connections that they have in Mexico. So I would look to further my federal partners in this thing and just throw it out there and say, maybe somebody didn't think of it. I don't know. I mean, and I'm not saying I have the answers to everything and I'm the greatest and all that other stuff. I'm just saying this is what I would be. This is how my brain thinks. Even 14 years into retirement, when I first started this, I said I'd be doing this, and this as of right this second.
Yeah, and you make a good point. People do think it's like some small little country department. There's 400 deputies.
Yeah, a couple of hundred.
Yeah. It's not a small department. Tucson isn't like some small place. It's a city. With the ransom notes, what are you looking for, as an investigator to see if they're legit?
Well, it would be that direct connection to the family. They want the money. They don't usually, I don't think they've ever wanted a big production out of this. It's usually very quiet, one-on-one kind of conversation between them, the law enforcement agency, and or the family members to get the money, to come up with a scenario where they're going to drop off the victim and get and be gone with it. So to bring in all of the national media and all the other stuff is just way too much for me as far as I'm concerned, because if you're trying to keep something like this, you want to keep it on the down low. You don't want to have the FBI getting involved in this thing off the bat. You don't want that if you're a bad guy. No way, no how.
All right. I appreciate Joe for taking the time to talk with me, help me go over all these new developments. There's a couple of other things I wanted to tell you about that's developed over the last couple of days, specifically when it comes to Sheriff Nanos. You guys remember the Board of Supervisors in Pima County has been investigating the sheriff. There was this whole controversy with him allegedly lying under oath and saying that he had never been suspended before, when actually at his last job decades ago in El Paso, he had been suspended a number of times. So the Board of Supervisors hired this legal team to look into the sheriff. There's also been allegations of ethical violations involving his opponent when he was running for sheriff, a woman named Heather Lappin, who also worked at the sheriff's office. And these allegations are that he was purposely punishing her ahead of the election and that there was election interference. So there's this new document that's come out where there are 3 different things that he was being investigated for. For bullying, it's said that they don't have the evidence to support a finding. But then these 2, they backed up. Ethics, the preponderance of the evidence supports a finding that Sheriff Nanos used his authority and department resources for political gain. The evidence includes considering Lieutenant Lappin's political campaign in investigation and disciplinary decision-making, culminating in issuing a press release that included information obtained in his capacity of sheriff. So they backed up an ethical violation, basically saying that he put out this press release before the election against a woman who he was running against, who was also under him at the sheriff's office. And then also code of conduct, the preponderance of the evidence supports a finding that Sheriff Nanos violated applicable code of conduct rules by including confidential information in a press release about the reasons he placed Lieutenant Lappin on paid administrative leave for political gain. He did not maintain rules about courtesy and civility. So they upheld that one, and it says the sheriff's actions were found to be inconsistent with the listed policies. However, the sheriff is not subject to these policies as an elected official. So again, it just goes back to the fact that because he is an elected sheriff, they can issue these rulings, but there's really not much they can do in terms of getting him out of office because he is elected by the people. There, of course, is the recall going on behind the scenes, which I've told you guys about, where they're trying to collect enough signatures to try to have another election to get him out. So he's obviously been under fire from all different sides. There's also this new report that came out from Fox Digital over the weekend that he tried to bring a loaded gun on a plane and was going through.
Okay. Yeah, we already talked about all this stuff in our last show. Too much stuff, too much shit to title. We went through all that stuff there when it comes to Nanos. So yeah, he's got 10 business days. The 21st of April is when he is supposed to have at least a response, whether he wants to respond or whether he doesn't want to respond. There is supposed to be a response from Sheriff Nanos regarding all of the questions that they have for him. I would expect him to act out that way. I'm not surprised either. When you saw everything that he was capable of with the disciplinary actions and punishments that he's received, especially in El Paso, it's not good. We're talking about a loose cannon, a hothead, somebody that's unhinged, and somebody that abuses their power. Just from the disciplinary reports that we saw in his conduct, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised whatsoever. Thank you all for hanging out. Appreciate you very much. Again, please hit the like if you haven't. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. Make sure you hit that notification bell. I'm not sure if Rosie will be live in the morning tomorrow or not. I think she is on a break. I'm not sure. I can't remember for sure. But we will both be back tomorrow night. We're going to be breaking down every single TMZ ransom letter in chronological order, sniffing out the BS, letting you know exactly what's going down as we break every single one of them down. And as we went through that one earlier tonight, and you could see how much the BS and the overblownness was happening just alone in that, because he was contradicting himself like crazy. At first, in the beginning, he was, yeah, we had contact with, they said that, hey, we need to warn him. And he was like, hey, I'm not kidding. I'm telling you the truth. And yet later on in the interview, oh yeah, we can't respond. It's like, what? Can you or can't you? What's going on? Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you for hanging out. And thank you for the kind words. Appreciate you guys very much. I'm going to be heading over to my TV channel for a little bit to shoot some pool. So if you want to come join me or shoot me a game match invite, you're more than welcome. I'll see you over there in a little bit. If not, we will see you back tomorrow, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. And we're really going to break that shit down. I can't wait because I got stuff to say. She's got stuff to say. We're going to be breaking it down live. And yeah, we're going to be busting some chops. So love you guys. Stay safe. I'll see you over at the other channel if I see you. If not, we'll see you over here tomorrow night. Love you guys.